And we welcome you in for the Overwatch 2 Community Calls Tournament brought to you by EGL. Labosco here alongside Gompers as we get ready for the semifinals and finals of this one. Gompers, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Labosco. How are you? How's
I'm
it
great.
going?
I'm excited. We've got two semifinals games coming up here in just a moment. The first one being Final Mouse Friends versus Megatron Minions. And then on the other side, we have G-Force versus Ceruleus. And I don't want to, I got the Ceruleus part right. So we got Ceruleus as the other team that they're going against there. They'll be playing here in this tournament tonight. They've been playing already so far. We'll take a look at how that format has been to get to this point. You can see that it's been an open bracket. For those of you who may be familiar with GeForce, they are a team currently playing in Contenders A sides right now. So we've got some really high profile players that we're going to be able to see. It's a single elimination tournament. So once you lose, you're done for the tournament. It's been best of 3 up until this point, Gompers, and now we get to see a best of 5 semifinals, first of 3 for the semis and the grand finals.
Yeah, and for the first matchup, actually, talking about who we will be seeing, which will be Final Mouse and Friends, looking into that, we'll be able to, look into the history of that team. So as you can see, right, we're going to be able to see the bracket come up. Final Mouse and Friends, they have a couple players here that are pretty familiar, right? Like, you got some players that were previously on Bear Claw, some players still on Bear Claw Gaming, and I believe it's pronounced Zerun, that was on Pirates in Pajamas.
Yeah, Pirates in Pajamas. I think there's maybe Pink as well. They do have a couple players, though, that are subbing in for this part of the tournament, so we'll see what part of those players from Contenders are still going to be playing right now. But Megatron's Minions on the other side, a team that very high ranked. They beat University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Orange, so a pretty good college team that they beat to get to this point in the semifinals. And then you can see on the other side that we've had Ceruleus. They've made their way beating RIT Orange, and then they beat the Krabby Crabbers, which I think is like tier 3 players or maybe tier 2. A couple, I can't remember exactly who was on that one, but then G-Force, team in Contenders, won, I think, the open division leading into this current run of Contenders as well. That's going to be the team to watch for sure. Oh, by the way, they're playing for some money, $300 for first, $200 for second, and $100 for third, $600 total that they get to play for in this one. But we're going to Ilios as our first map here. We're going to be getting to see Final Mouse Friends and Megatron Minions pretty soon. Overwatch 2, obviously a little bit different, Gompers, than what people are used to in Overwatch 1. We got a couple more days of the beta here today. But even though things are different, some things are the same. Like, there's a lot of Tracers, a lot of Genjis. Sojourn's new, though. Sojourn's cool. So we get to see some differences, obviously, with one less tank.
Yeah, just the better soldier when you think about it. I mean, the names are way too similar for it to not be a mistake. You got the soldier, you got the Sojourn. I feel like they're twins in comparison, but definitely like the Sojourn and the abilities that they have, right? Like you can do some pretty heavy damage with an agent like Sojourn if you can get the aim correct. And I feel like that's a great addition into the game in this 5v5 because you need a hero that's going to be able to do that heavy damage.
Yeah, and we're going to see now as we get to open up on Well to start off for both of these teams. And you can see here for the side of Final Mouse Friends, they're going with the Genji and Sojourn. So we get to see a little bit of Sojourn here at the beginning. We're also seeing Junker Queen as well, one of the new heroes that has been put into the game. Bun playing on the Sojourn here, just trying to get that railgun charged up. They've already got 2 eliminations down, and they're chasing Megatron minions, back to spawn.
Yeah, seeming like here Final Mouse is just really trying to push these players back, if anything, and make sure that they stay within the spawn. So you can see a lot of these players, right, on Final Mouse and Friends already up and positioning themselves pretty heavy on that choke point.
Yeah, now they get control of the point, already up to 14%, and just continuing to control these chokes. They do have that Junkrat that they've got to deal with in Mercedes, and now you have the Junker Queen coming onto the point, trying to get control, and Easy just trying to fight on the other side with the other one. They do manage to get Graham down, but Bun is able to get the railgun shot onto Mercedes, so a lot of damage gone for the side of Megatron Millions. And, Vega just biding time right now for Final Mouse and just waiting and biding to get that blade, which is almost up.
Yeah, that initial push up to make sure that they really can't excel as much as they wanted to for Megatron's Minions was great, because now we can see, right, the struggle. They're struggling trying to get themselves onto that point. Now it's really just a battle as to how much damage can you do, and it's not easy.
Yeah, Astron just completely controlling the point right now on this Junker Queen, throwing that knife out and not getting any kills as of right now, but they still are in control. Mercedes getting booped in, tries to get out, but Graham able to get a double kill with the boop, and it's still Megatron's Minion well in control right now of this point, already up to 60. Well, they did lose control even though they're winning the fight. They were up to 61%.
Yeah, Lucio is such a great addition into this map just because of the fact that you can really take these players out in a second worth of time, and you have a lot of impact there. Like the area of effect for at least that boot coming in really allowed that opening, and now it's more of that push of that we saw previously. We're going to be able to see Final Mouse and Friends really take over this space and make sure nothing can really happen, but taking the high ground here, trying to make sure that they can come along onto the top for Megatron's Minions and see out these fights is going to be the best
Get a good position for that blade that they have, and now you have the player also coming out on either side. A lot of players getting Annas from both of the Annas. Fun using the ult, gets one railgun kill, gets another, and they're able to take the point for Final Mouse Friends and have a 1-0 lead here in the beginning.
Yeah, overall, Final Mouse and Friends doing really good. I feel like the pressure they're creating is a lot more valuable than really anything that Megatron's minion is given forward, just because they're not given a lot of impact there. The damage isn't really happening. I felt like it was really just like Final Mouse and Friends having fun practicing at that point, which, you know, it feels like we need a little bit more ability usage, but more so in a way where, you know, that damage really is coming through so you can set up your team for success.
Yeah, and you're seeing some of the switches come through for Megatron's million. I don't know why I want to keep saying millions. It's minions. Maybe I'm not thinking about the Minions movie enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're going to match the Sojourn now. They're going to go with the Tracer instead for Mercedes, who's playing that Junkrat. So a little bit of a change here, matching obviously everything else as far as tanks and supports, as they do start to come in, and they will meet near the point for both of them to fight again.
Fight already with the minion. See, it's the minion thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just happening. But yeah, already getting up here. And once again, it really is just the push-up that's happening. But this time, Megatron Minion's having a lot more control over this. You can see working around the back. Harvey Mercedes getting some of that damage now. Really just some help back there.
Yeah, not able to do enough, though, unfortunately. And now you're going to have Final Mouse and Friends in control pretty easily again, and now they continue to aggressively hold up front.
Yeah, real good here. Oh, all the way near spawn as well, so it's just great for Final Mouse and Friends. They're not struggling at all. It really just looks like they know what they're doing. They're not having any trouble with the composition that we're seeing from Megatron's minion.
And now they're just waiting for ultimates to come up while they're still in control, about them 30%. And you see Megatron's minions trying to push forward, try to get them to try to get something, and they do manage to get Fun, so that's a big damage dealer out of the way, but they still have to win this fight out. And they're slowly but surely starting to do it. The only problem is the percentage is already up to 47% for Final Mouse Friends.
Yeah, and it's such a big struggle for Megatron's minions because we're seeing that Sojourn. And you know, previously we did see that Sojourn coming into battle. There's not a lot of damage being done. There's not a lot of impact being done either. Matrix really struggling to get these shots in. And once you have that problem with one of your DPS, it creates this really big, you know, issue where no damage coming through, no clear coming out. So you're really just getting stuck and completely getting torn apart.
Now they're going to ult in, though, for side of Final Mouse Friends to try and take control here. You've got the Moira ult coming out from Megatron as well to try and contest the two ultimates that were used. The sound barrier from Graham keeping everybody up, and now they'll come through with the Moira ult of their own. Coalescence really starting to beam down players, especially with Bun getting those high charge shots through on the railgun. They have the single player advantage. They're going to speed in, though, for the side of Megatron's minions. They don't want to give this one up as they now try to push forward ahead. Vega countering back, though, after the sound barrier with the blade, getting two players with the help of Graham, and it's looking like this can be Final Mouse Friends point to win. They do eventually turn it over.
Yeah, Vega was such a big carry there, having the Blade Storm come out, making sure that everything is 100% theirs. This is their territory. This is their site, and they really took charge with that, in all honesty. Like, you saw those two initial kills that came out, the amount of damage that they were able to do as well to make sure that the team could set that up, and at the end of the day, right, you see this pushback once again, Megatron minions struggling, and that's 69% coming through.
Nice percentage that they just passed by for Final Mouse Friends, but Megatron minions, oh my god, that anti-nade was huge. I was going to say, they have the railgun ult that they can try to use to even this up, but Final Mouse Friends, they don't care. They just go forward with no defensive ultimates, control this, and now they're almost 10% away from winning this map.
Real close, and I don't think Megatron minions is going to be able to do anything other than Mercedes. They could possibly, you know, get themselves onto that point and maybe make sure, hey, I'm going to stall for some time here, make sure that we can get this rotation through, but it really is the Tracer. The amount of health left there for Mercedes isn't big enough.
not a big health pool, but stalled long enough for Easy to come back on the Junker Queen, make a difference, and they get the flip at 99%. So Megatron's minions, they're not done yet. They're still in this fight.
Good enough. Mercedes, good stall there. I mean, as good as you can possibly get. Ooh, really good. Seeming like at least some stall trying to hold off on this push from Final Mouse and Friends.
Yeah, didn't hit with that pulse bomb either, so not a lot. Now Sound Barrier to get aggressive for the side of Final Mouse Friends. They're being kited away, though, by Megatron's minions, so they're at least keeping themselves healthy, and now they have to re-engage. You see them come back in with the Coalescence to try and re-engage back in, getting that ultimate, keeping players healthy to fight through Graham's Sound Barrier. Now they'll throw the orb down to keep players alive on the ground, and Mercedes will finally get the first kill through. Vega being the one going down to Final Mouse Friends, and there comes the second kill from Easy. They're taking control of the point, and now they just have to keep these players off to get that overtime wick down. A few more players left alive for the side of Final Mouse Friends, and now they can re-engage with the Coalescence of their own, but a Sound Barrier there to answer on the other side by Cybertex. This is looking really good for Megatron's minions. Vega has to be big here, does manage to get two, but will it be enough? Astronex made the switch over to the Wrecking Ball to get back on the point to stall out for as long as possible, but it's looking like it's too much. Megatron's minions controlling the point and making sure that they don't let this game be an easy 2-0 for the side of Final Mouse Friends, although this is all going for a very long time, Gompers.
Yeah, it was a valid point for Final Mouse and Friends to use that Coalescence, to use that Blade Storm Invocation. But it just didn't work out the way they wanted it to. And I mean, look at this, it's just the Bloodbath coming into the point.
Matrix able to get one, though, so maybe there's still hope. Mercedes, the DPS, doing something for Megatron's minions. They're both so low. Bud coming back in on the Symmetric. It's 2 kills, and the flip comes through, and they're going to win the map for Final Mouse Friends. The huge slate switch making the difference to win that map and make it a 2-0 win on map number 1. That was a wild end. You thought it was like over like 3 times, and then it finally just, the flip comes through for Final Mouse Friends. And, you know, you can see why maybe some of their players are playing at some higher levels.
Yeah, and to me personally, you know, I thought it was over. You know, they used that Coalescence, they used that Blade Storm. It felt kind of rushed. They were desperate to get that point. And then at the end of the day, right, like that was some of that stall that they had set down. They put that Coalescence down. So, yeah, okay, we're utilizing this so we can at least possibly get some of these heroes out. But at the same time, right, we're getting this rotation in. And, I mean, overall, right, like this is Final Mouse and Friends we're talking about. They have some heavy damage.
They really do. And you're looking here at the replay of Easy, who was playing that Junker Queen seeing here, but Junker Queen getting a lot of playing time from both of these teams and making a difference at points. And you can do a lot of damage with her, that's for sure. That seems to be one of the things that it looks like that you're able to do with that pump shotgun she carries and that knife that she likes to throw around. It's I always think of, I forget what movie it is, where the guy goes, "That's not a knife. This is a knife." And she's got one of those knives.
I never seen that movie.
God, what movie? I can't even think of what movie it is.
It sounds like an interesting one from the details that you've given me. For sure. But like in the beginning, I feel like also the main factor as to how Final Mouse and Friends was able to get themselves so far into the lead was like the pushes that they had on that choke point. You could see majority of times they were getting close up to that, you know, to that spawn point, and it got really hard for Megatron's minions to get themselves out of that position, right? Like you got a Lucio you're playing with, there isn't a lot of damage really on that side, and I'm a little bit surprised it didn't work out as well as I thought it would, especially with the Moira. Like Moira has such a really good immense amount of damage that you could really be pushing off of, but it really comes down to the point of Final Mouse and Friends were just utilizing that composition better.
And there just wasn't enough from Megatron's minions to finish those. Crocodile Dundee. That's the name of the movie. It's an Australian guy. Of course that's the movie. Sorry. Brain just started working. Anyway, no, you're right, though. Like, you think that they have control. It looks like that this is it. That's all they have to do. And then I think it was Astronex who was on the Wrecking Ball, just stalled for so long, and they never were able to take the ball out. And then that led to eventually Final Mouse coming in. So we're going to find out. Our next map here is Circuit Royale is where we're going to be going. So I'm curious to see how this changes things up, Gompers. Again, this is a best of 5, first to 3. So we get to see 2 more maps at the minimum. It might seem more. Final Mouse is going to be our team defending first. But thinking about Circuit Royale, this is a map that's got some sight lines, so we're probably going to see a little bit of a different play style here. We might see some of the Widowmaker stuff that we've been seeing a lot of in Overwatch League and stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how this changes for Megatron's minions because they definitely made that last point very close and were really in the fight.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not forget, we talked about the aggression from Final Mouse and Friends. We're coming at Escort this time. So let's think about that. Let's think about the fact that they
Yeah.
love pushing up. They love creating that space. So coming into this Escort, I'm thinking we might be able to see Final Mouse really pull, that car forward and make sure there is so much space left to be had. And I feel like this might be a Final Mouse and Friends map.
Yeah, this could be. Although I'm curious because Mercedes was pretty good on the Tracer. I
Yeah.
wonder if we got a Widowmaker or who's going to play the Widow, if we are going to see it from Megatron's minions, how they're going to decide to end up playing this out. But the nice thing is we're going to go into the map now and we'll kind of get to take a look here at what we're going to see. So we know Final Mouse Friends is going to be defending first. They're going to go with the Hanzo for Vega as their choice.
I mean, the Hanzo's a good pick. I mean, just kind of like equally on par as the Widowmaker. The only problem is it seems like the Sigma here is really going to be blocking some of those shots coming out initially. Having that shield there is going to be so hard to be able to use that Hanzo.
Interesting though, they're playing the Pharah here, which there are some longer alley sort of ways that you can go through. So there are places for the Pharah to hide. They got the pocket as well by Cybertex on the Mercy. And then you can see Matrix here trying to control that main choke. And like you said, there's the shield coming through from the Sigma, which we see a lot of Sigma play usually on this map, and we're seeing more of it here.
Yeah, great play as well. I mean, really working against Vega. Vega is struggling to get something here with that shield coming down. The Pharaoh is really pushing back this line of Final Mouse and Friends. And look at that. I mean, they really can't do anything. This is kind of surprising looking at it. Oh, already the first pick coming through from Mercedes. The second comes down as well.
So you've got the hit scan from Matrix, and then you've got in the air the projectiles coming through from Pharah, who a lot of people have been hoping something happens with Pharah, because Pharah has felt a little underwhelming, but hasn't been so far, although not quite the best ultimate, and that's one of the things that people are still not happy about. But this is looking good for Megatron's minions still. They still are getting kills in. They got the res to get Mercedes back, goes down again, and now you have Vega, who's showed up on the Widowmaker, making that switch, but Matrix has been too much on the other side, and easy kill onto Vega.
Yeah, Mercedes was working really well on that high ground, especially having Matrix in the back, making sure, right? Like, that pushback is coming through from Mercedes, but Matrix is there to finish it off. Matrix is there to make sure you play off that damage coming through from the Pharaoh, and it works out so nicely because you got not to mention that Zenyatta making sure that Discord comes through, and it really just feels like this is an immense amount of damage and then so much heal potential, especially with the Mercy being brought on by Cybertex, and it's Final Mouse now being bullied, at least within this Escort.
Yeah, it's still early on, though. There's still, they've been bleeding a little bit of time away, but not a lot. I mean, 4 minutes, and they're about to get to that second point, and Easy on the front line, able to get Graham down. So this is a little bit of a struggle, it's turning out now for Final Mouse Friends. Big Gravitic Flux gets 2 players up into the air. Neither of them get finished off. Good Immortality Field, but is it going to be enough? It's not. Easy able to come through with that ult and finish it up, get the follow-up with the help of Matrix, and they're going to get this second point and have a big time bank going into this final part of the map. But, Gompers, a little bit harder this end part of Circuit Royale. A little bit more enclosed, a little bit harder to do this, although I guess you're Mercedes, you don't care.
Oh, nah, you don't care. You need one in reality. It looks like Mercedes is really just looking for picks at this point. They're like, listen, we got the space made. Why not just have some fun while we're at it? But there's not a lot of fun now. I mean, to be said here for Final Mouse and Friends, they do have a lot of ultimates down there, but like in reality, they can't use them. They can't even get close.
Now, this might be their time, though. Now you've got Vega putting a little bit of pressure on one of the sight lines. Mercedes going to try and flank around to force the Widow out of that sight line, giving more space to Megatron's minions. Railgun coming out from Bun, but Matrix getting the headshot, stops that ultimate dead in its tracks. And this has been a clinic so far from Megatron's minions. Transcendence in desperation, or no, sorry, that's Transcendence from Megatron. So looking good, but Gravitic Flux in answer. Astronex able to get one and Chosen. And now they finally seem to stabilize for Final Mouse Friends, but Matrix has still been doing crazy on the Widow, though. It has not mattered.
No, not at all. I mean, it really works well. Like I said, you see that Zenyatta, they're assisting a lot here with that Discord, especially with Matrix being able to, take those picks down, not really having to worry much about, how long they're going to hold that and make sure they have the amount of damage that they would like. Seeming like a battle's coming down here. Mercedes is struggling just a little bit on that Genji playing against that Tracer. But regardless, once again, we're way too close to that finishing line. We still have 3 minutes left, and they can regather here at this point. It seems like Mercedes is already trying to create some of that opening.
Yeah, already has gotten one elimination to give them a small advantage. Of course, now you're at that part of the map where the spawns are so close. Mercedes, though, not able to continue it. Bun being the better Genji, at least for the moment, in the high ground control for Final Mouse Friends might make a difference. Vega on that Echo gets 2 to answer the 2 from Matrix, where it's actually only 1. Immortality Field was up, and Matrix still being a problem on this Widowmaker for Final Mouse Friends.
Ooh, what? No, nasty shot.
That's
yeah,
fun.
Matrix is trouble. And you got the Genji really trying to fight back from that, but Bun is always getting taken out no matter what. The problem is Matrix is unstoppable, and that's one of the main issues that we talked about, right? Like coming into this, it's really Mercedes trying to get this push up. But once Matrix comes back alive, it's gonna be trouble.
Graham wins the Zenyatta 1v1, but Mercedes does not respect the 1v1, comes in, finishes the kill afterwards, but it's not going to be enough. Final Mouse Friends, they've made this stand here, they've got the close spawn now, and they've been able to make it work. These fights have been, you can't have fights go even here if you're Megatron's minions. They're down to 219.
Real close. Close enough. Matrix sitting back, waiting to get something, a perfect shot on that Sigma, but that Sigma's really the main problem. It is going to be Astronex always waiting on that high ground, having that shield there to make sure that everything is well protected. Now we're going to be seeing that ultimate come through, making sure, hey, they're not going to make it past this choke point. I'm going to hold this back, and it was a really great hold as well. Nobody being able to get near that card, and Megatron's minions now on the struggle.
Yeah, Vega doing work on the Echo has made that switch, and it's really made a difference so far for Final Mouse Friends. They have the Transcendence ready here for this next fight. And again, time bleeding away now for Megatron minions.
Bleed, like you said. It's... I'm just interested to see what amazing shot we see Matrix get again, because it's like...
They need it.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, Matrix is just going to throw a nasty one out on Bun once again. Bun gets down, and then that would create such a good opening. But, I mean, the real problem now is going to be Astronex playing on, we see here, playing on a little hamster. We're going to be able to see.
Making a difference so far is the DPS. Bun getting a kill onto Mercedes again, who is on that Tracer. And now we're going to have the Blade come out from Bun. Ends up going down, but the work has already been done, and using that ultimate just before the ult ends for Vega. And now we're down to the last 40 seconds for Megatron's minions. They've really got to get something together. They do got ults coming up at least.
Yeah, and this is such a change of pace. You get close enough to the point where you're tasting that victory, and it just stops all of a sudden. They were coming really fast as well. They had a lot of time down in their pockets, but they were not able to make that change. And I really do think it's because, this really big change in the Sigma play, and Astronex now coming over to the Wrecking Ball.
Oh, you had the boot from Cybertex, 2 down! Oh, that's huge. It got out the Transcendence as well by using the Gravitic Bucks. This is the chance, potentially, for Megatron's minions. Have to deal with Vega, though. Getting low. 2 players. They've got everybody down, and now the car can start to advance as overtime is about to begin.
Overtime coming down. Everybody's really making their way, and there's a lot more push being taken over from Megatron's minions. Now as they go, they need to make sure that they can take over, but it's not going to be easy. Astronex is going to be there on top of that car.
Keeping things going, and Mercedes the first one to drop. Vega coming back in on the Reaper to make a difference, and that's all they really needed. And they have the ult at the end to force players off from the Wrecking Ball. So not quite able to get the entire way there for Megatron's minions. Unfortunate for them, Gompers, because they had a really big time bank coming into the end of that map.
Yeah. At the beginning half, I don't think the Sigma was doing the best job for Final Mouse and Friends, in all honesty. I think there was a lot of trouble there, especially, you know, seeing as in the beginning it was a lot of push coming out from Megatron, but once you reach that point where there really wasn't much space to go to, I felt like it started working really well. And then once they realized, hey, we're coming to this, we're coming really close, we need to be able to have something to be able to stall out in case something happens, that switch over to the Wrecking Ball, honestly, in my opinion, was really perfect timing.
Yeah, it ended up helping out a lot. I mean, Megatron's minions is able to win one fight, but again, you have to win full, clean fights when you're there at the end of this map because the spawn is so close. They're not able to do it, so Final Mouse Friends able to stop them short. They have a goal here to take a 2-0 lead, and defensively, we're seeing Mercedes is going to go with the Junkrat as the choice here. With the Widowmaker, so they can deal with anything in the sky. But an interesting combo. It seems like Junkrat's getting a little bit more playing time as of late from some of these teams, at least in the tournament. I've seen a couple teams play the Junkrat, so interesting choice here for their defense.
I mean, having the Senora there, I feel like would make that a lot easier. So I definitely think the Zen is that's the only way that I could see that Junk with the Widow really work out, in all honesty, just because it is such a weird combination.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to watch Astronex dive in here because your bubble can go down pretty quickly, but Mercedes is down, so you don't have to worry about Junkrat spam anymore necessarily, but Matrix has already found 2 kills. Goes down to Bun, though, so this is pretty even so far. And you're seeing Bun just continue to work on that right side, trying to deal with both of these supports. Being careful, has the Discord Orb on, so has to be a little careful. Has the deflect up, now going aggressively in to try and get on. And gets a little bit of help from Vega, who made the switch over to the Echo here pretty quickly, and it seems to be paying dividends already.
Yeah, the Echo is perfect. It's not a Pharaoh. You have a lot more accuracy with your shots, and already Mercedes down, coming onto that high ground, making sure Sigma's shield really doesn't matter.
It hasn't mattered as of right now. We'll see switches coming through again from Megatron's minions. Now they go with a Tracer of their own.
Yeah, but still, I mean, not really pushing back too much with the switch from Matrix still being on that Widow. I feel like it's harder. You got a Winston coming through. Yeah, that's, I mean, a really big character to be able to shoot off of, but in reality, there's just way too much to be focusing on just because of the push that Astronix is really pushing through.
Yeah, very aggressive that they can be now for Final Mouse Friends. Matrix, though, can still control these sight lines. You still have to be careful. Have to find those shots, though. See the Winston coming, tries to grapple out really quick. Astronix getting brought down real low, but a good job by the supports to keep him up. Megatron, though, able to take care of Vega. That's a lot of pressure off of Megatron's minions, and now they can kind of control this high ground area, and slowly but surely, especially with a double kill pulse bomb from Mercedes, they've got really good control. Doesn't matter if you have the Nano Blade when you've already lost basically your entire team.
Oh, Megatron had the perfect Discord come through, the perfect timing for that play, and now, I mean, they have it set in stone. They can hold back a little bit more, and this is what I wanted to see. Like, the composition that we see here, having the Junker Queen there to be able to do immense damage, make sure that if there is going to be a push-up, they can handle it.
Not going to be good, though, to start off with your Tracer being down before the fight really even begins, though. That's a little bit unfortunate for Megatron's minions. They're being forced back. They're even being forced to use ultimates here. And Cybertex goes down while the ultimate of the Transcendence is up, too. This is a disastrous fight for Megatron's minions. Final Mouse Friends, they are well in control and pushing forward towards that second point. Time Bank is a little bit similar, too, to this point to where Megatron's minions was as far as attacking.
Yeah, no, but still here, at least there is going to be some coverage there for Megatron's minions. Bun's trying to really counter-strafe here to make sure that they don't get hit with the shots, but really just far stuck up into that spawn. Make sure there's some of that pushback, making sure that they can at least get some of that space, which is perfect, right? You seek out the Matrix.
I think Bun can see the Matrix right now is really what's going on. Has a look, channeling a little bit of Neo on the Genji. But coming back in are Megatron's minions. They're all right losing one player because they now have control of this point. And now you have the Reinhardt being the choice here for Astronex. So they're making a swap here for this final point to maybe play a little more brawly of the style.
I don't know. I do see Final Mouse and Friends maybe pulling through. They've been doing really good with the push up here. Although it is going to be somewhat of a change, something a little bit more harsh coming out from Ez.
Yeah, that's Junker Queen is pretty crazy what you can do on her, and that wasn't even, you know, the ultimate started it off from her as well.
Yeah.
That was all after the ult, but killing off some time here, down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, or sorry, 3:50. Or no, I can't read. No, it is.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to like 4-3-5 for me too. So it is definitely a little blurry. Oh.
And in the blink of an eye while I'm looking at the time, Bun's like, I'm going to have the best Dragon Blade that you can see. And you're more looking at the time, of course.
Oh,
but that was,
no.
you know, the Nano Blade is such a combo.
What timing, like you said. I feel like Bun just definitely didn't want us to see. They were a little nervous because we had our eyes on him. So I think the moment we took it off, it was game over. Final Mouse and Friends honestly getting really far up. And I feel like they could have played a little bit more off that. It was such a nice play from Bun. Now, I mean, there really wasn't a lot of impact off it. Not a lot of playoffs.
Not a lot. They lost Bun, but they've been able to even this back up. Bun's probably going to be back in the fight here soon. Is back, takes Mercedes down. They're winning this fight for the side of Final Mouse Friends, getting closer to that golden box with victory. Have to regroup now for Megatron's minions. They got maybe one more fight. The Transcendence coming in to save to get their team back together. And Vega playing off on the side here, just waiting for players to come back, looking for those headshots onto the Junker Queen, who's now trying to fight in between. Dragon Strike onto the point. Gets stuck with the Pulse Bomb, though, does Vega. Trade of one player on one side for another. Even fights going to be in favor of Megatron's minions because they have the closer spawn. Charge in from Astronex. Stops himself at the cart, though. Maybe now they start to try and push up.
Oh, and now there's so much more that Final Mouse and Friends could have done. You had the Junker Queen down. You could have played a little bit further, and it felt like they were sitting back and waiting for something that wasn't going to come.
I wonder if we're going to see Astronex switch here, too, because he used that ultimate on the Reinhardt. And there's nobody around for his team. Does make the switch over to the Junker Queen, and Vega's made the switch over to McCree. Has the Nano Boost, does get the kill onto Megatron, but, you know, there's not everybody back just yet. They get 2 players down, though, throwing out that bomb. Doesn't get the kill. Matrix gets 1 down instead. Trading, helping out Megatron's minions.
Yeah, Cassidy's doing a lot of damage here. Really taking over that Echo, making sure that Echo gets taken down. But as it is, right, as we are standing, once again, it's the damage that's being done that I really feel like isn't getting a lot of value out of it. You're like, yes, okay, there's 4 players down, but then they sit and wait here for Final Mouse.
Cassidy already up to 65% too, and Vega and trade out again from both sides, but Vega able to get 1 and Bun able to get another. Final Mouse Friends, maybe enough being done here to get this one through. The blade coming out from Bun could be enough to finish it off. Out comes the stall from the Wrecking Ball, but booped away. And Final Mouse Friends take a 2-0 lead here in our first semifinal of the night.
Wow. It was kind of close. I definitely have to say that. It was stuck, you know, within the same position, but once you get really, really close to that end point, it gets harder. You don't have a lot to work with. You know, the space really is limited, and that's when players really start to get desperate. That's why you saw really, really aggressive pushes coming out of Megatron, and I did feel like they were playing a lot better under those circumstances, but I feel like it could have ended earlier. I don't think I saw a lot of value out of, you know, we saw a really good ultimate come out from the Genji over on Final Mouse and Friends, and it felt like all of these players were down, but nobody was trying to really aggress forward to make sure some of that space was being taken over. It felt like it was just, you know, somewhat of a stall. Yeah,
I mean, you know, stalls work if you're able to make them last long enough for you to get the victory, but unfortunately doesn't work out in Megatron's minions' favor there. They do get to pick the next map again, right? This was their pick as well, Circuit Royale. It definitely felt closer than our first map, right? Because like the first point was a stomp. Second point was close, very close actually. There's the crazy overtime stall. And then Circuit Royale kind of back and forth, but still Final Mouse Friends able to methodically push through that final point. make the correct switches, see some of the crazy plays from Matrix. They were eventually able to neutralize Matrix on the Widowmaker. And then the final point's just a lot harder to play the Widow too, so that makes a difference as well. And a lot harder to play the Pharah too in these points, especially when they made that switch over to the Echo, who's just kind of like better Pharah, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I was actually about to say the same thing. Leaving the Echo there was perfect for Megatron's minions. You saw a lot more accuracy, way better shots to be able to come through, and it did feel like, you know, taking that high ground, also at the same time while being able to make sure that, you know, you can shoot those shots, you make sure everybody's within that general crosshair, whatever. It did feel like things were working out a little bit better in that sense, but once you're able to adapt to that, once you're able to really switch things up, Final Mouse and Friends, they took over, and it kind of felt like something was missing there. Of course, though, I mean, at the end of the day, Megatron's minions, they were pushing really far that first round. I felt like they could have won that coming in, but it just, something happened.
Yeah, it was really just the fights down towards the end for in both their attack and their defense, right, where they just didn't seem to have enough. But we did get to see some really good plays from both sides. You saw there was that boop there just a minute ago. There's been a lot of really good plays in this game from both teams. We still got, of course, one more map, maybe. Depending on what happens here, I wonder what the choice will be for Megatron's minions. And the choice is going to be for Hybrid. It's going to be one of the new maps, Midtown. So we're going to New York City to determine maybe if Final Mouse Friends are going on or if Megatron's minions can extend this series out.
Quite possibly. Maybe. I don't know at this point. I mean, it was really close coming into the second game. The first game, it did feel like Final Mouse and Friends really took advantage. And I thought it would have been Final Mouse and Friends, you know, not even cutting it close to Megatron's minions. But the fact that we saw something completely different from what, you know, we thought we were going to see, I do think we might see something similar. Maybe Megatron's minions will run away with this one. Maybe. Just maybe. This is their, you know, game mode, and they're really feeling themselves as they continue on.
Well, we'll get to see here soon, but again, 2-0 lead for Final Mouse Friends over Megatron's minions. You know, you must really... I think it's funny that, like, we have the name Final Mouse Friends and that they're all like, we really like Final Mouse. And I'm like, do you really? Or like, I don't know if they're memeing or not with the name. I think they're memeing. I think that's what it is. Because it's, you know, it's kind of an amalgamation of a couple different teams. So they just made a team name that they wanted to have fun with, is what it seems like. So... I'm not gonna lie, I actually have a Final Mouse, so like I don't think they're that bad. They do have crazy marketing, I will say that.
Well, I've never heard of Final Mouse until today. Maybe it's because I live under a rock. I don't know. I feel like I'm learning a lot of new. First it's the movie, then it's the Final Mouse. Maybe I'll learn something else as we continue. What is the Minion movie? Maybe that's the next thing. What is?
Yeah, well, right. I mean, I don't know. Minions movie is like marketed everywhere, right? So I guess they're doing something right if people are even making team names out of it. But wait, so you've never seen Crocodile Dundee?
No.
Okay. It's not like it's a great movie or anything, but it's one of those I think there was like 2 of them made too, is the funny thing. But it's just like about an Australian dude like coming to America, sort of. Like that's like the premise of the movie in a lot of ways. Is like
seems like a good movie.
It's not too bad. It's okay. It's I was very young when I saw it, so who knows. But regardless of that, we get to go to Midtown now, and we get to see what's going to happen here between Final Mouse and Megatron's minions. This is a map that there are some nice sight lines, so maybe you can play some more of that Widow. I don't think you necessarily do. It's not really a Widow map, but we're seeing they are playing defense first for Megatron's minions this time, and they do have Matrix playing Ashe. So Ashe is kind of your good mid-range choice, and Mercedes is back on the Junkrat. We're seeing a lot more Junkrat than I expected us to see.
Maybe Junkrat's the new meta. I don't know. With the new games coming out, with the new game modes, I think Junkrat is a perfect pick. Of course, like it's not always going to be the easiest to handle, but having that Zenyatta there once again, like I feel like that's really going to push it through. Already Mercedes, you know, getting a lot of damage down and making sure, you know, they're going to try to get this hold.
Trying at something, at the very least, getting some damage onto multiple targets. Vega playing the Sojourn again. Ooh, just missed the railgun shot on the Ana. some players being really low on Final Mouse Friends, and Easy getting really low too on the Junker Queen on the other side for Megatron's minions. Both side support doing pretty well, but Matrix will be the first to fall, so control starting to go over for the side of Final Mouse Friends. This looking like a pretty good attack from them, and there's those Surgeon shots coming through, and finally Cybertex goes down. But that was a pretty clean, methodical fight win from Final Mouse Friends.
Very methodical. Really good. Already taken that first point, so now they're going to be able to try to make sure that payload doesn't really come through here for Megatron's minions, trying to get the push up. And, you know, this is one of the most difficult parts, is that once you finally get that through, there's going to be a lot of aggression coming forth for Final Mouse, and it's not going to be easy trying to take that payload anywhere.
The one good thing for them, though, is that they were holding up pretty aggressively at the start, so we're able to get a decent amount of damage in. They kite back now, and now they are back in control of the cart, but they do lose their tanks, so might be a little bit difficult here to keep that control, even though you were starting to kite back, and now you've got a Rip Tire on the other side for Mercedes that can be used, gets the kill without even looking. Cool guys don't look at explosions. That's like one of the things they say, right? Cool people don't look at explosions. That's sort of what happened.
No, they walk away from them. That's what they do. They have the explosion right behind them. They put the sunglasses on. That's exactly what Mercedes did. Now he's going to do it again. He's not going to be looking at these explosions. He's just going to have a little tire running around, make sure Bun gets taken. Actually, no, Bun taken down. At least the tire there, so
yeah, unfortunate.
No explosion.
Sad day indeed. But that's okay if you're the side of Megatron's minions, because you're still winning the fight. Get the ult out from Vega too, who's trying to use that railgun to get something. Matrix does manage to take Bun down, but this is a fight going in favor of Final Mouse Friends. So a pretty good hold here on this first part of this hybrid map after the card has been opened up. So looking good so far. You know, still a lot of time though for Final Mouse Friends.
Yeah, hitting that secondary fire is really going to be big for Vega. I feel like, though, right here, there's a lot of gold. And Megatron's minions doing really good at making sure that Final Mouse Friends aren't really getting the push up. Ooh, Chosen, though, really bringing out everything, all that ultimate power.
Very good so far, and now you've got yourself a one-player advantage for the side of Megatron's minions. Final Mouse Friends trying to hold on to this part here. Have this down barrier come through to deal with Matrix Blade, but able to still get a swipe through and a little bit of help for a kill for Megatron's minions to take one down and even things back up. A long fight. Nobody really going down. Player on either side, and they've been able to at least force back Final Mouse Friends, but they've got some ultimates on their side that they can come back in with.
Yeah, the car's not going far either. That payload's sitting right where it was a minute ago, and it feels like we're losing a lot of time. Final Mouse Friends, they have two ultimates here, and they can really use it to stop it once again. Once that payload starts to get pushed up, I feel like this is going to be great for them. They're going to be able to really use that ultimate to be able to make sure there's a lot more space being created here. Ooh.
Unable to get a kill before going down, but it's even right now. Two players going down on either side. Support loss, though, for the side of Megatron's minions might be the bigger loss is the only problem, as Clear coming through on the Lucio managed to get a kill before going down himself, but they still have a lot of healing left in Chosen, so this is still looking good for the Final Mouse Friends. They're getting close to that point.
It's not close enough. There's a lot more coming in from Ezdirk. Ezdirk is doing a really good job playing it as that Junker Queen, making sure that they're sitting down. They don't really care about the damage being done either. And you know, once push comes to shove, you start to get desperate. You leave Astronex once again going on that Wrecking Ball. But this time, you know, you're on the attack. You need that damage. And I feel like Wrecking Ball really isn't the best choice for right now.
Oh, and now you get a tire that comes through from Mercedes too to take out Bun. So even more of an advantage being pushed for Megatron's minions, and Final Mouse is going to have to regroup here before they decide to go back in.
Once again, we're stuck there. Lots of damage, but the heals come through. Of course, you're going to have Chosen there making sure that they have your back. Leaving it up to here, that Discord coming down, not being able to be used. And, I mean, at the end of the day, right, like, you're still stuck in this position where Final Mouse aren't able to get a lot of push-up. Ooh.
Maybe going to get that push-up, though, now, as they've already got 2 kills from Astronex. who's gone in deep on that Wrecking Ball, getting 2 players down, chasing these players down into that subway system area. And now, Final Mouse Friends finally getting a full clear and able to push this cart maybe to that next point.
Oh, and I said the Wrecking Ball wasn't going to be the good idea, but honestly, like, I take everything I said back. That was immense. I didn't think that Astronix would have played like that. That was like, Astronix was on X Games mode. He had it coming on, making sure, okay, well, now I'm coming up once again. I'm going to be able to use everything that I have in my power to make sure, hey, I'm playing this Wrecking Ball. I have a lot of that health being able to, you know, make myself stay alive for as long as possible. Why not just push up, enjoy the ride, see what happens?
Yeah, Wrecking Ball can still be a menace for sure. And now, even going back and being the one to push the cart too. So, good teammate, Astronex, playing on the cart. Somebody's got to do the job. It's a thankless job, but it needs to be done.
Yeah, most definitely. Although, 2 ultimates, but 4 on Megatron's minions. So, I mean, if it really needs to happen, it will happen. Will we see it? Maybe, possibly so soon enough.
Well, the first one's going to be the ult from the Junker Queen. Don't know if there was a whole lot done with that just yet. A lot of players got hit by the anti-nade. Out comes the Riptire now. Matrix pulling the blade, gets it evened up because of the mines from the side of Astronex. So they are still pretty even on both sides. The Megatron's minions, Final Mouse Friends, and is he just trying to do a little bit more work on this Junker Queen, getting bullied now by the Wrecking Ball into the corner. And it looks like it's still going to be Final Mouse Friends keeping control.
Great for them. They just completely eliminated 4 ultimates off the board for Megatron's minions. It was insane. Now you don't really have to worry much about the fact that, hey, there's a lot of ultimates coming down on the board. We have to be extremely careful. But now, okay, we've handled the situation well. Let's pull our 3 ultimates out now.
And now the blades coming through from both sides. Vega also using the Sojourn ult, gets a kill on the Mercedes. So 1 player down for Megatron's minions, trying to not allow them to get this push through, at least not until overtime if they can help it. 10 seconds left before that happens. 2 players going down, though, on the side of Megatron's minions. They still have 2 up. Still a few players up for Final Mouse Friends, too. 2 seconds. 1, can they hold out at least for overtime? Oh, no! 0.2 seconds. They just couldn't quite get to overtime.
Oh, and it was so close. But so far, that 4 ultimates honestly was the choke point. That was it. That was completely it for Megatron's minions, and it didn't go right. It kind of went awry, and now we're gonna be able to see Final Mouse and Friends taking that 2-0. And I mean, here now is the time to be able to try to take it a little bit further for Megatron's minion.
Yeah, you can still have the bigger time bank, right? Like, you almost got it to overtime. So unfortunately, you don't have, like, they are going to get a chance to attack again for Final Mouse Friends if you do cap. But obviously, hurdle number 1 for Megatron's minions, you need to be able to full cap, right? You need to push the cart the entire way. We didn't see them do that on the last map. They've got to be able to do it here. You know, maybe this is why we're coming to Midtown. Maybe they have an answer here for their attack. Final Mouse Friends, they're very clear on what they want to do defensively. They're going to go with the Genji and the Sojourn, playing more Wrecking Ball, having a lot of fun with that. And then Clear and Chosen are playing the Lucio and the Moira. I mean, Moira just Moira just does so much. Like, especially when you're talking about players as good as these ones, like, they just know how to make Moira work so well.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about the Junkrat not being a good choice. I do think so as well. I think eventually, like, it really just, in the beginning half, there wasn't really a lot of pressure being created. I felt like there were a lot of times where we saw that ultimate come out, it didn't really get anything, and it kind of felt useless at that point. And you know, I think now's the time for Mercedes to really switch it up, because coming with Matrix, having that Junkrat, having that Genji, I don't know how well this is going to work.
Well, we're going to see how well they can make it work. It's going to be something that they're going to try regardless. Obviously, Mercedes will be comfortable on it. Clear comfortable going against another Lucio, gets the kill there. And Final Mouse Friends having a much better defense so far than what we saw from Megatron's minions. They do lose 2 players, though. They lose both their DPS, so they'll need to make sure that they can try and hold out here. So those players are able to get back, as they've at least stalled out this push, and Mercedes going down, and Matrix taking a little break there, I think, maybe trying to wait for the regroup.
Yeah, wait in here. Ooh, already final. Now it's looking good. Getting themselves on to the point, but I mean damage all around.
It doesn't really matter because the fight's already over, but it's funny to just get trapped in like that. Figure Astronex probably just did it to give some more healing or more ult percentage over to the supports.
Yeah, but looking a little bit better here for Megatron. The only issue is well, already, right? Like the push-up coming down. Maybe we'll be able to see how well, you know, this composition's going to work out here.
Well, they managed to get that one kill early on. Matrix is able to answer back and forth for both of these teams, but now you're going to have to try and deal with the mines on the point. Astronex able to roll around, get right onto that Lucio, get some help from Vega to take him down. They haven't even given up a tick yet on this point. They do lose Astronex now, so maybe now this is when Megatron's minions can open up the point. They do have some players coming back, though, on either side. Riptire going to try and be a difference maker, focusing it down, though. Still has plenty of health left, been able to avoid the damage so far, waiting for players to come. Oh, went over one, chases down, looking specifically for that main healer. And now Final Mouse Friend should be well in control, be losing control, excuse me. Megatron's minions should be well in control.
Yeah, with Chosen down, now having to regather themselves and try to get that repositioning. It gives a lot of time. No heals, Final Mouse and friends there with the struggle. But of course, we're going to be able to see that payload coming out for Megatron's minions. Finally enough, Mercedes getting a really impactful play. And now they're able to really play off this and take it into stride. We do have 2 ultimates left, you know, on Megatron's minions. We could possibly see Matrix really create some of that push in case things really get dire.
Yeah, have some things to answer it is the biggest thing that they'll have to try and work around with both the coalescence and the sound barrier. So have to be smart about it if you are Matrix. And you know, Vega's also got a pretty good ultimate, the railgun on the other side that can be a real difference maker too. But now we can see Bun looking to maybe come in. Nope, decides not. Vega just went down. You're down a little bit. You've got some players getting low, but the sound barrier coming out should keep everybody healthy for the side of Megatron's minion. They just got to find some of these other kills with the advantage that they have, and they're not doing it. Fear's able to get a kill back, and now this is starting to look a little bit better for the defensive team and Final Mouse Friends, who, by the way, now have 4 ultimates on the board that they can use whenever if they feel the need, and they don't even need it right now.
Yeah, so many times the Chosen was almost down as well, so the healer, you know, consistently being put into a corner. Ooh, Megatron's minions, though, they can really make so much of that push-up.
Oh, man. Vega just hitting 2 shots in a row on the Sojourn. But again, 1 ultimate, and they've staggered out Megatron's minions, and now they can kill time off this clock.
Yeah, killing the time, pushing back that payload. Although, I mean, in a couple seconds, we'll be able to see somewhat more of a push come through. Everybody regathering and regrouping here. And it's really just going to be another battle coming through. Pretty sure Megatron's actually going to try to utilize their ultimate here to make sure that they can at least get some of that damage and maybe have Esther play off it. It could be a possibility.
And they got 3 ultimates that they're working with. You saw Astronex kind of come through, rolling through. Not going to use the ultimate just yet. Throws the mines down out in front. Now you're going to have Bun come through with the blade. So it's going to be Final Mouse Friends pressing their Q button first, and it seems to be making all the difference, at least as of right now. Vega getting that shot up. Easy does manage to take Bun down, though, so not completely clean from Final Mouse Friends here. But they do still have the advantage at the very least, and now the kills start to come through.
Oh, sitting stuck in here. Esther maybe staying for a little bit too long. Ooh. Definitely
Time's
not.
getting close, yeah.
Yeah, definitely not the easiest, the easiest position to be in. Sitting in a corner, waiting for the homies to pop up, and they just do not come.
There's good news though. They've got 2 ultimates and no defensive ultimates on the other side though. So there's a chance. There's a chance. And that tire. Oh! I can't believe that didn't get a kill. That totally looked like it was gonna get a kill.
Yeah, it was very close. No, it was super close. It definitely should have been something that looked good. No, Matrix pulling out the Blade Storm.
Making sure that they get the kills here. They already had 2. We got players, a bunch of players low. Just have to finish them off. Have to make sure you don't die to the Wrecking Ball, though, too. It had such good gameplay for Final Mouse Friends. Like, even fights where they're maybe having a little bit of trouble, there's just so much disruption that seems to come through.
Yeah, a lot of disruption. Esther, you really just can't catch a break, and already like 14 seconds left, not even close to where Final Mouse and Friends had ended off. And I don't know, in all honesty, Wabasco, I don't think that this is going to be the game for Megatron's minions. They could be completely eliminated.
And now they've got to deal with the mines on the part 2. Overtime now coming through. Vega gonna pop the ultimate now, trying to get those shots through on the railgun. Hasn't found anybody just yet, but gets a double kill with 1 shot to give an advantage over to Final Mouse Friends. And now you just need your friends and your Vega to do the rest of the work as you've gotten taken out. And that's exactly what they do. 3-0 as they will advance onto the grand finals for Final Mouse Friends. Megatron's minions just not enough in the tank to really get through on any of these maps, unfortunately.
Once again, I mean, look at Mercedes here. Again, playing the game as Junkrat. I'd love to see what happened here.
A consolation prize, I guess, right?
Yeah. Immediately taken down, but able to take up on before things are awry. I do think though, like, you get play the game, that's fine, but once again, I really did feel like there could have been a better replacement for the Junkrat. The map in general is just such a wide map. I feel like there aren't really a lot of close corners to play with, and even when they were, Mercedes just got one tapped sometimes, and it felt like the Sojourn was really doing its job for Final Mouse and Friends. And you know, at the end of the day, though, Mercedes definitely pulling through, able to get some really good picks off, but it needs to happen a little bit more frequently for me to kind of feel like there was a lot more value. Yeah,
it really does need to happen, and you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, right? Unfortunately, it didn't happen this time for them, but I think, you know, we had already talked about Final Mouse Friends coming into this as a team that we were, you know, really looking at, because they do have players, you know, with a contender's experience. It makes a difference when you have players playing at one of the highest levels that you have in Overwatch. So, like we kind of knew that there might be a different bit of skill gap here, but Megatron's minions definitely made it close. Did not make it easy on them at the very least.
No, absolutely not. And maybe that'll just make for a really good game. And whoever wins, you know, for the G-Force game, we have our pick'ems. We are assuming who we think is going to win. So that's because, you know, G-Force coming into it, you talked about how they're also a contenders team. And, you know, looking at their stats, I can see why. You know, they're really good. They definitely have some variety of first places there.
Yeah. Just a few in tournaments like this. And they like we said, they were an open, they won open to get into contenders. And then the other thing too, I think they won their first game in contenders for A-Size yesterday as well. So they're just, you know, they're just streaking, and we're going to find out how long that streak's going to go for, because they're up next against Cerulean Marinus, who, again, don't sleep on them. They are a very high rated team. So going to be a game worth watching. We'll be back with that one here in just a little bit. We welcome you back to Overwatch 2 Community Calls Tournament, brought to you by EGL. Labosco and Gompers back with you, getting ready for game number 2. Ceruleus Marinus versus GeForce is our second semifinal here. And Gompers, you know, we saw one team that had some contenders players make it into the finals, and now we got a team that's full of contenders players that might be making their way into the grand finals here. But Ceruleus Marinus don't want to make that happen, don't want to allow that to happen.
Yeah, they could definitely give us like a really good showing. At this point, they're going against GeForce, and if they're able to get something pretty good out there, I mean, I would say that, you know, this is the team to 100% keep your eye on in future reference. But against a team as strong as GeForce, it really kind of tilts me the other way, you know?
A little bit, just a little. Yeah,
I don't.
GeForce, of course, made up of a full contenders roster. They currently, they are currently playing in the A side, or I believe that's what they've been calling it for contenders North America now. They've got like A side, B side. It's different than their format used to be. But GeForce, obviously one of those teams that's competing currently, and I think they just played a game yesterday.
Yeah, they're on it, and they played the game, and they did good. So definitely got some warm-up in. So maybe we'll be able to, you know, come into the Lijiang Tower, which I believe is where we're starting off first, and see exactly what happens. But, you know, kind of leaning towards the GeForce side. I don't know, maybe.
yeah, I think that's understandable. Lijiang Tower, control map. We'll see what they decide to do here. Looks like they're gonna play with Sojourn and Genji, so I'm excited for that. I think that this is we've seen a lot of this happen in pro play, so at the highest level. So I'm not too surprised if these are what we're seeing.
No, most definitely not, right? Already starting off, you got a lot of this pressure coming through. It is going to be GeForce having a Genji here, making sure some of that deflect comes through, but having that shield, it really isn't a lot of damage. You're not really getting anything past.
Well, not able to get a lot at first, and then, you know, once you get around that shield or you get through it and take it down, you can do a lot of damage, especially when you've got a Genji who can go right through you. You have the Sojourn, the Railgun can do a ton of damage, and Junker Queen seems to just wreck everyone. So GeForce already in control, like they're looking really, really good right now.
Yeah, I do think, though, with the Reinhardt, I don't think that's a terrible pick. The shield definitely doing a lot, but with the push mentality, hey, I want to get onto that point, make sure I'm taking it over. I don't know how well that really works out. Yeah, you got that shield with a point as big as this that you can come from all corners, make sure that things are being taken over, right? You got Anyhow already trying to do a lot of that damage. The shield's really, really low, and it's a lot of the struggle coming through from, I mean, Ceruleus. I completely forgot how to say that name.
Ceruleus, right.
Ceruleus.
Yeah, it's a hard name to say, so completely understandable. To get that point back, they had some ultimates that they could use to get there. You know, the Reinhardt, especially when you're going into a team, can be really useful. So already back in control, and you know they got a little bit of work to do. Already up to 42% for GeForce, so need this pulse bomb to stick from your tracer.
Yeah, but you got the Dragon Blade as well. Seeing it come out already, right? The first one comes through, making sure they're going to be able to get the Moira out, the second healer, possibly the Lucio there, but not a lot of damage done. They can still really execute off that, though. It is going to be a 1v5, so at the end of the day, you're stuck in the middle of a really hard situation, and there you have it.
Ultimate Weapon's been around for a long time in the contenders level. A player who, you know, has always been very good at whatever DPS that he ends up playing, and you can kind of see there, gets the 2 quick kills on the Genji, and now his team back in advantage. They didn't need any of the other ults, and now they have 4 ults still to contest what Ceruleus is coming back in with.
Yeah, Ceruleus, this is the time for them. They already have that ultimate coming through from the Moira. Quite possibly, maybe you'll be able to see something big with the Tracer here. A Mac really trying to fight forward, make sure they get a lot of that damage down, but it's super, super difficult. You got a lot of these players on GeForce really pushing through, making sure that they're going to have it. It's Magic M8 Ball, making sure, hey, the push-up comes through. I'm able to stall off on this site as long as I can, but now here's where the outer edges come into play. Here I am making sure that once that respawn Storm comes through. It really is my sight. It really is everything around it that's mine, the extremities and everything.
Used the Lucio ult there to just make sure that they stayed full force for this final fight. But now you've got that the Reinhardt ult coming through.
Yeah. It was great while it lasted, but 99%. Oh, Labasco, I don't know. I mean, they can take it. Yeah, they can get a couple points in here, but at the end of the day, GeForce really, really pressured that in. I mean, they had it at the end of the day. Now it seems like Madero might just be able to try to get some, some load out for their ultimate there with the Reinhardt as it works out, but as it is, right, getting onto the site on that point, making sure that they can possibly take it over. A lot of the extremities being completely cleared out by GeForce. There it is, the Reinhardt coming down outside of it. Anyhow, really trying to work outside of those extremities coming through. It is going to be Vacant getting downed. And, I mean, as the healer goes down, it's just back and forth.
Ends up being good for Ceruleus, though. So they get to keep control. They're at 70%. The problem here is ultimates are starting to come up for GeForce, right? They're going to get the Blade, they're going to get the Sojourn ult, and Mew Mew is the only defensive ult that they might have, but that's still 30% away. So if GeForce goes quick here, this could be their win, and this could be their first point for them.
I think the first point might definitely come in, especially with the Dragon Plate coming through. It's over for Star. Star can't hold it. Yeah, sure, you got the shield down, but can you really shield, something as big as that? And I don't even think overtime's gonna come in. Labasco, I think this is it. It's gonna be 100 to 90%. And GeForce, I mean, they had the lead in general. It was pretty far out at the beginning of the round.
Yeah, it was a very good round from GeForce. They always felt in control. Sure, they struggled there a little bit towards the end of that point, but all they had to do was bide their time. They knew what they needed to do in order to take the map, and they did exactly that. And now they get to move on to this next point and hopefully get themselves another win here. Like, the comp that they're working with, they don't have to necessarily, have everything, right? They can rely on different parts of this composition, and they'll have plenty of damage from, their tank and their 2 DPS. And there's so much healing in the composition the way that they have it that you don't have to worry about a lot. So Star, like, sure, you have that shield that can kind of keep you protected a little bit. Jeez, that scared me. I thought he was going right in. That's a Lucio who knows what he's doing.
I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a tactic. Maybe it's the scare tactic, whatever's going on now. But GeForce definitely know what they're doing. Already coming, wrapping around, taking some damage in. And
that's a rollout.
Yeah, not going to get any boops, though. But there really is the fight onto the site. That's the most important. And it seems like completely contested.
Yeah, pretty even fight at least so far. But now, GeForce, they've got that railgun on one side. And they're just able to take control, and Ceruleus going to have to go back to the drawing board. And this is like the difference, for me more than anything, is the fact that they're staying with the Reinhardt for Star and not going to the Junker Queen. Like, the aggression that you can have with the Junker Queen, the damage output that she can have is just so high that it makes it hard to deal with. And like, the fight hasn't even happened yet, this next one, and they've already staggered a player out. So they're able to get so aggressive with it as well. Like, even if she's not hitting, she's still able to deal a lot of damage from afar, and their supports are just keeping her up so well that the Junker Queen, can make a big difference by anyhow.
Yeah, it seemed like GeForce so coordinated. You can already see it. Already pushing up, taking a lot of that space under control. But now we're going to be able to see a rotation come through from the opposing side. And interesting enough, right, they're going to be met at that choke point. GeForce really playing into this. We're not caring about the immense pressure that's about to be created. We're going to be able to see the ultimate come out immense from Madero. And he just can't do anything.
They really can't. I mean, you look at it, they had, you think that they're, okay, they're going to regroup here. They get staggered. Okay, so they lose a little bit more time. And then when they finally get to start their rotation, a player gets taken out by the deflect from Ultimate Weapon, who puts it in the perfect spot. Hits multiple players, too. And now's got it. Again, the regroup never fully happens from Ceruleus here because there's so much poke coming in from GeForce. This is a good ult, but is it going to be enough?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Ceruleus, definitely doing good there. It was, I feel like having that Blade Storm as well you know, being able to have some of that insurance come through, especially the one tap man having their ultimate as well. I think that's going to play really well into the fact that they can hold it, but 79% already down for G-Force. I'm not so sure anymore.
There's that Dragon Blade you were talking about.
Yeah, it comes out, but it's not as effective as I thought it would be. I mean, some damage down, but they really can't play with it. It's going to be a Mac coming down with it as well, as Ultima Weapon Mac try to take that battle out, but they actually don't really get a lot of value. It ends up really wrong.
They do get the flip, though, in this craziness, though, for G-Force. So, like, even though they haven't won this fight, they're winning the battle that matters most. And now they have players just stalling out on the point. Well, they have players coming back. And Star can hold up that and try and stay alive as best as you can. But anyhow, doesn't care. You can just do so much on the Junker Queen against a Reinhardt. So, overtime's going to start here.
Yeah, OT. And with the fact that G-Force definitely have that point already on lockdown, I don't think it's going to work out as we think it is, right? Madero really pushing out with the ultimate. And coming through, we see G-Force taking the win on the first map coming into this semifinal. And I mean, the Bosco, I think that was pretty good from G-Force. I can't even imagine, right? Like, you would think it would be somewhat. No, I definitely thought that it wouldn't be that close. It didn't seem like it. It was definitely a lot of control being taken over by G-Force.
Yeah, G-Force, you know, first one, you know, they gave up the point, got it, you know, they got it to 70% for Ceruleus, but that second point was pretty dominant from G-Force. They lost they literally lost, if you think about it, one fight. It was because of an awesome ultimate that came out from Star, who hit like a 5-person shatter. Like, yeah, you're probably going to lose that fight, right? Like, you don't expect to win that one if everybody's down on the ground and the Reinhardt's swinging free. But
yeah,
the problem is that Star didn't really get to swing free on the Reinhardt all that much. And there's so much damage coming through from G-Force's comp. They're really good at disrupting the tank. They're really good at getting backline access, doing everything that they need to win. You know, you can see that was one of the fights that they did win there, but then Ultimate Weapon came back with double kill Dragon Blade. That's almost an instant win of a team fight by itself. You don't even have to use anything else at that point, and they have the coalescence off the back of it as well. So like, they're doing everything they need to on the side of G-Force to win the fights that matter most, and that's making a big difference. And like I said, I think that they're bullying Star a little bit on that Reinhardt pick, at least on this map. And you know, they decided to show us that again. Like, this is when you know you're a good Genji, when you know how to perfectly do rollouts like that at the beginning to maybe hit someone off. Didn't get anybody on the bridge, but like, I don't have the. I've never done that sort of a rollout on a Lucio. I don't play a lot of Lucio either, but still, it's like seeing it happen on the screen. Like,
yeah.
Shout outs to our observers for that one, because that's a fun rollout to watch happen for sure.
Yeah, overall, it was like, it didn't even feel like a fair matchup. G-Force really good with the pushes, and like, it felt flawless at the same time. You got these 5-man group pushes coming through and making sure that, hey, I have the backup, Madero being that main force of the heals, and really Magic was there to be able to, I wouldn't say stall out, but always there, kind of like on the edges, making sure, hey, if I get a boop, I get a boop, but I'm taking some of this damage down. I'm trying to assist. I'm getting these speed boosts to make sure, hey, you can get out in time, and if you need those heals, you need that extra assist, I'll be there. So Magic definitely kind of being that fill in case something was needed, whether it be damage, heals, or whatever. And I felt like it just worked so well, you know, paired together. I don't know. It feels pretty difficult going against G-Force.
It does. I mean, you know, this is a team, again, who is in contenders. They literally had their first game yesterday for contenders A sides and won 3-1 versus Bear Claw. So like, you know, they're kind of a good team. They're a team that we have some expectations for in contenders as well. Like, it's a team that is showing here to us today why they, you know, they should probably be the favorites to win this. But Ceruleus is still here, still has shown that they have some ability. I'm just curious, because we're going to Circuit Royale next. Like, what are the answers here? Like, is this a place where you feel a little bit better about running the Rhine? Like, if it's me personally, like, we see so much Sigma here because, like, the way that the sort of narrower areas are and stuff, the ability to place the shield all over the place. Like, there's some some better benefits in why Sigma gets played here more than Reinhardt, but there is parts of this map where Reinhardt can excel. If you think about like the end of the map where it's a lot more enclosed and stuff. So like if Reinhardt is the basis of what they want to do, maybe this isn't too bad of a map, Gompers. But like for GeForce, I think that they're going to have an answer regardless of whatever we see come out from Ceruleus.
Yeah, they always have an answer. And even then, like, they have a moment where maybe something slips up, especially, you know, adjusting to the 5v5. We talked about this before. Like, adjusting to the 5v5 type of thing, one pick could really be the end of it all. So, you know, talking about that, bringing that into the discussion, it's GeForce. Yeah, okay, they adjust, but super fast. They're really adaptable.
They are. You know, we're seeing the same comp from them because, you know, if you're so good on this, you don't really have to change. They don't need to show anything else necessarily. Like, until Ceruleus proves that they can beat the composition GeForce is putting forward, they don't really got to switch. You know, it's a comp that really is multifaceted anyways, as far as how they can do damage and how they can deal with things. But you are seeing here that they are being careful and now quickly going together all as one.
Yeah, so much happening already. It is going to be anyhow pushing up, taking a lot of damage through GeForce. Already coming down, you know, with the perfect aim, the perfect positioning, and it really is nothing to say about it. Everything they're doing, right? The teamwork, the positioning, the immense amount of damage across their placement, it just works out in the end.
It's what you expect of the contenders team, right? You expect execution to the highest degree, right? You expect them to make plays like that, but now this is where you have an advantage in your Ceruleus. You're able to take down one of the DPS. You have a lead, and you can now turn that into something.
No, but Ceruleus is definitely putting forth the effort to make sure something can happen. One Tatman doing really good with the first-hand picks, with that secondary fire, and seeming as it, right? You see the push-up come through. GeForce no longer going to be able to escort the payload any further, but once again, right, like it's that pushback that comes through, then GeForce is going to have the same amount of pressure, if not more, coming down once they're able to get that respawn in.
So they've decided to go with the full mirror by Ceruleus. That's what's happening right now. And they actually stopped the card of GeForce in the perfect place. As far as close to that point as possible, that means it's a very far spawn for GeForce to come back. You actually have a small, slight advantage if you're able to stop the card here. But you've got to be able to maintain it is the big thing. Minute 40 left, so GeForce, you know, they've made a swap of their own. Ultimate Weapon's going over to the Pharah. This could be fun.
Yeah, we saw the Pharah before. We were thinking maybe the Echo would have been a good idea, but it seemed like GeForce, you know, it seems like, you know, shots are hitting great already, lots of damage being done. One Tatman being put in a corner, but still, regardless, GeForce, I mean, completely getting taken down by Ceruleus and, you know, going the complete opposite way of maybe what they thought it was going to go.
You know, you think it's a little bit harder to deal with the Pharah because you don't really have any hit scan on the side of Ceruleus, so that's why you play the Pharah in a situation like this. So, you know, one push goes bad, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's over because you do have the ultimate already from Ultimate Weapon. That can be the difference maker here. Look for that one, and then you have the railgun that can come off the back of it from Pummy.
Yeah, but this is it. You got the ultimate coming out from Ultimate Web. There it is.
Oh. Down
on it, but one Tatman coming through with the with the fires, the shots, the headshots down. I honestly think one Tatman, you know, being a really, really big part of this team for Ceruleus, it's immense the amount of damage that you can do, the amount of players that you can take down with one player.
One tap, yeah, that was kind of one tapping. That's what that was, for sure. Living up to the name that you have is always good. And now we're at the point where it's crunch time for GeForce. Like, they've got to really force this and make this work. So, you know, you've got 10 seconds left. If the Pharah doesn't get any picks here, you're in really big trouble.
And with the 1 second left, GeForce, I'm surprised they're being held back this far. They barely made it anywhere. They haven't even reached that first point. Now completely being weak and anyhow having to try to get the back out, but it seems like Ceruleus really looking good on the escort here within this map. And it's over. That overtime, yeah, it's going straight for GeForce. And now Ceruleus, I mean, they pretty much take it at this point. Like, if you can get the car as far as that, I'm pretty sure you have it.
Yeah, That's the thing. That's if you get stopped right before you're about to capture that point, you know,
Yeah.
on any sort of map like this, it actually ends up being a detriment to the attacking team because you're so far away from your spawn. By the time you get reinforcements into any sort of fight, the fight is probably over. So you've got to win a fight cleanly, right? It's sort of like when we're at the end of the map, right? Where it's the same sort of concept, right? Where you
Yeah.
kind of need a clean win at the end in order to take the point. So doesn't happen there. I think G-Force was kind of, you know, trying something different to counter a composition that they normally play all the time, right? So, you know, maybe trying something different instead of fully mirroring. I think if they fully mirror, they probably can win the fight eventually, but they did try something different. It doesn't pay off. There's still the chance that they can full hold here, right? Like they can hold even closer than G-Force. So like, don't count them out just yet, but still on the other side of Ceruleus, you know, you mirrored the comp that you were seeing from G-Force. You've had a little bit of success. It looks like that might be what they end up trying to do again here. I expect that we maybe see a Widowmaker, you know, peek out at the beginning, try and take a shot, and then maybe you switch right over to that Genji here. So we might see this be a little bit different, or we could see that same comp from Ceruleus that we had just seen. Actually, it looks like they will keep the Widow instead of having the Genji. So play those sight lines.
Yeah, but I don't know, with one tap man being able to play that Sojourn so well, taking the one taps like we talked about before, I don't know if G-Force is going to be able to actually have as much, you know, effort as they want already. Pommy, yeah, putting it onside the Widowmaker, trying to get the one taps through, but at the end of the day, you got that Sigma, you got that shield just in case things go awry, and I mean, of course, just really have to see what happens.
Well, it's starting off pretty good already because you got that kill on a Pommy. So now less pressure is on your Widow for Ceruleus. Now you control the sightlines. Now G-Force is the team that has to be more careful. That's why they're seeing them come around this back side here, is they don't want to play that sightline until they have to.
Oh no, the shots coming down, everybody really firing it up, but it's just no hold. Once again, they're staying right close to where their payload had stopped before G-Force really having to push forward, or else things are really going to go awry if they give enough space, if they give enough time to be able to allow Ceruleus to take it over. It's going to be difficult, but there is some of that pushback coming down. Pommy is actually able to take out a Mac, and that really leaves it so that, hey, you pretty much leave your healer off, you pretty much take your DPS down, so they're pretty good standing here.
Yeah, G-Force, you know, Pummy's pretty good Widow. Pretty good, you know. Not too bad. Makes a difference. But this is where you're running into a little bit of trouble now, playing with the Junker Queen and playing in this long sightline. You've got to win that sightline battle if you're not going to have that little bit of shielding that comes through with the Sigma. But you've got a lot of ultimates coming up for G-Force too. So this is going to be really, really tough for Ceruleus here. You've got to push through and push through effectively.
Oh no. Yeah, Pommy missing the shots though, and those shots initially are going to be really important. You miss them, you really just leave a lot more space, a lot more room. People know where to look. The repositioning comes through for maybe just a second, but Pommy trying to get some damage down. At the end of the day, though, anyhow, is doing pretty good in the endeavor to make sure, hey, I'm taking it clear. There it is. The Coalescence comes out, but the Dragon Blade comes out with it. It's wrapping around the back, and it looks good for G-Force for just a second. But the moment that things, you know, turn around, it is going to be Ceruleus taking it over. I mean, I really don't have a say or opinion at this point because it's just back and forth. G-Force winning, then it's Ceruleus, then it's G-Force again. And it just feels like, you know, at the end of the day, G-Force is going to win it out once more. 1 minute and 22 seconds left.
Yeah, they might have been, you know, losing one player, but like you're controlling the sightline with your Widowmaker. You don't have to shoot around any shields. Like this is easy. And ultimate weapon's the ultimate weapon. So like you're good. Your DPS is doing exactly what they need. Anyhow has been playing perfectly on the Sigmas, able to take down Syndrillion before anything can even happen. So like you're at the point where you're under a minute. Like oh my gosh, you can't do anything because Pommy is just on a tear right now.
Oh, and I thought the Widow might have not been the play, especially like you're in such a tight grasp that it's really hard to play with that. But Pommy, yeah, like you said, just on fire with the Widow.
But again, there's nothing really to control the sightlines or make it harder on Pommy. Like, Pommy can kind of just sit. Nobody can get back onto Pommy, right? They've been keeping their Widow well protected. This has been going perfectly for G-Force. There's just not answers on the other side. this is it. This is their last fight. They've got 2 ultimates to work with Ceruleus. They've got to make them work.
Oh yeah, but they are gonna make it work. I can already see Ceruleus coming in, Centurion really trying to utilize the Junker Queen ultimate coming down on that one. Tatman still having theirs, but they're not going to be able to utilize that. They get down. The moment they pull it out, it's seeming like this overtime might just go over to G-Force. It's the Blade, the Dragon Blade coming out, but the wipeout from Ultima Web. Maybe one more fight here. I mean, at this point, it really is just a 1v1, trying to take out as many players as possible, really trying to get the most important pick, but will it come out? Will it come into fruition? In all honesty, I don't think so. I think it's pretty much over as fast as it began, and I was a little bit surprised at that, but maybe something different will come. No, it's Pummy. It's Pummy. It's just Pummy. Once again, over and over and over again. Oh, no.
There's still a chance, right? Ceruleus isn't out of this just yet, but my God, they don't have anything going for them. That barrier keeping them alive for the moment, but there's just too much on the other side, and Pummy just still keeps doing work. Wow. G-Force.
I don't know. Pummy was Pummy was pretty impeccable.
Mercedes from our other game said that Pummy's dummy thick, and
oh.
Pretty thick on the Widow there, hitting headshot after headshot. That's for sure. So, I'm a little surprised though, like, because I think there's an avenue for Ceruleus on that map to get the win, right? Like, you see that they're controlling their sight lines defensively so well with G-Force, right? Like, the Widow is free farming you, right? So you've got to find an answer to that somehow. You by the time they were collapsing on to G-Force, they would already, player got picked off already or something like that happened, right? Like, you've got to, not necessarily the Reinhardt, but like, the other side we saw Sigma, right? That'll kind of control sight lines and sort of put that barrier up. It takes a little bit of time for a Widowmaker to kind of get through that. You could also try and dive on. A lot harder with the way that the map works, but just kind of going with one thing and just banking it all on that, and it's not working. It's really, really rough to see when that goes that way. But you also have to give Pummy credit because there was a Widow on the other side and they forced the switch off, right? So like, that's respect to the Widowmaker on the other side on G-Force that happens too.
Yeah, I mean, as well, I don't even know. Like, I thought G-Force, it was over for them. I thought Ceruleus was going to win this one. Just how close things were. And, that payload coming really close as well here for Ceruleus. And it really just stopped. That was as far as they were going to get. Because it was Ultima Weeb. It was Pummy making the switch to that Genji, making that switch to the Widowmaker. And I mean Pummy in general, right? Like, you talked about having a counter, making sure that maybe somebody can take them out. But one Tatman was supposed to be that counter. So was possibly a Mad. And you can't get close to somebody who's just completely taking you out the moment you appear, the moment your head comes like a centimeter. Like it's like 1 pixel and you're out. I don't know. Pummy was hitting some impossible shots.
Yeah, they're all the credit in the world to Pummy. But if I am the side of Ceruleus, I wish, maybe you make a tank switch. Make it a little bit harder. On that Widow and in the Widow v Widow battle by also having a Sigma who can put a shield up and put it in places to sort of make the sight lines a little bit harder for the Widow. Those are the things that I want. It's slight things that I think they can maybe make adjustments as far as compositionally that can make the difference, because the little bit of time we did see a mirror happen from Ceruleus was pretty close. Now, probably wouldn't have been that case if they fully mirrored what G-Force was doing, because Pummy showed why they're a contenders player on the Widowmaker, for sure.
No, they definitely did show that. It's like that's the Widowmaker you wish were in your games, but in reality, I'm the Widowmaker in your games, and I'm not hitting those shots, by the way. So it's definitely a really nice change. Although I'm happy we're seeing push, because this is actually a gamer that I really did want to see, just based off the fact that it's brand new. This is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, Coliseum, if there's a map type that I think that can have the most sort of randomness, because it's so new, I think it's pushed. But like, this is maybe Ceruleus' best chance to get a map here and maybe show us what they can do. But, you know, ultimate weapon, again, when you're the ultimate weapon, it don't matter.
Yeah, especially with like this game mode being so new, like you said, I do think thinking into that sort of thing and being like, yeah, GeForce, maybe they haven't had a lot of practice down in their belt. This is something a little bit more new on their side, and it's seeming like they aren't really struggling too much though, because they're really taking a lot of picks down, but not a lot of action yet either. It really is just like 1v1s being taken over. Everybody's kind of scattered.
They're getting a little bit of push, so Ceruleus is winning here early on at least. You know, they've gotten the robot further, right? So they're off to a better start, but don't count GeForce out just yet.
No, most definitely not. Anyhow, good with Zarya, and interesting to see Zarya. I do think Zarya is great for the harsh push, right? Like you got your barrier orb, making sure that you're able to protect a majority of your play. So I think GeForce really good in that like kind of aspect.
It definitely helps too. Like one of the nice changes for Zarya being able to you know, use 2 projected barriers instead of, you know, having one be a projected and one on yourself. Like that is a nice little change. So Zarya definitely has a lot of potential, and we've seen in pro play that she's been very important too. So especially if she's got a nano boost, she gets a little bit scarier when that happens as well.
Oh yeah, the gravity well there and available. There it is. It's coming down. I was assuming that maybe something would have happened there, but Pummy's not there to be able to utilize you know, anything to take these pigs down. It really is ultimate web that's coming in, and there it is, the Dragon Blade down. That's the second, and everybody playing with it. Perfect for GeForce. A team kill coming down, and already it's almost over. Like,
Player's been around a long time, and just like Genji's always been one of the signature heroes for Ultimate Weapon, and Ultimate Weapon been a contenders player for a long time. Bermuda, Noble, Kratos, Kaizen, like so many different contenders teams that Ultimate Weapon's been on. It feels like it's just a matter of time before we eventually see Ultimate Weapon maybe have his turn to get called up.
Yeah, 7 minutes left. Still a lot of push-up that could happen here for GeForce, but GeForce, I mean, they don't give it up. It's already Zarya kind of sitting in the back line there anyhow. Still resorting into that area. Ceruleus maybe pushing up maybe just a little bit too far, and there's still so much good stall being taken from anyhow. They have not died yet.
You want to keep that 100 charge if you can too. Unfortunate, but like anyhow did so much work on the Zarya. Like you're okay losing at this point because you still have the forward spawn already activated. Your team can get back quick, and you have your Genji who's just going on a tear anyways whenever there's the opportunity to do so. And you know, Madero from the back line keeping everybody healthy almost has another nano boost. Feels like it just had one already, just like the last, it was like a fight 2 fights ago. So keeping those ultimates rotating for GeForce as well.
Yeah, the push-up here from the robot. Ooh, but the turnaround, it completely turned around. Now they got to be able to push forward, but it's not going to be easy. The one tap man taking the soldier in, trying to take everybody within their ultimate there. And I mean, having that line of sight, being able to really just kind of aimbot your way out of that situation works so well for Ceruleus. They might just be able to at least gain some ground.
Yeah, there was I think it was in coming into this new beta, there was that nerf to Soldier 76, but not as strong as we had seen Soldier be just before the last time the beta happened. So a little bit better here, but still that ultimate can do work.
Yeah, gravity will taken out, grouping these players into a corner. The robot not really going too far for Ceruleus, but they're fighting pretty hard here. Ultimate Web getting taken down, and that's going to be unfortunate. They had the Dragon Blade out. They had the ability to do something with it. But of course, I mean, and actually, yeah, it's just looking like here anyhow is trying to be that stall potential. Trying to make sure the robot goes within the opposite direction, but you know, looking into it, Ceruleus, they're really fighting for it. Pommy switching over to that maid to try to at least get some of that freeze down to assist with the Zarya. Ooh, and I actually think this is a great switch up pick.
definitely can do a lot. You know, the wall, you no longer can freeze a player, but you can slow them with the left click, and left click still does a good amount of damage. So, like, it definitely is something that can be very scary to go into if you're Ceruleus, but they've got themselves a coalescence that they can fight back with right now.
Oh, yeah, I think here with the Soldier, one tap man taking that one in, the Mei is going to be really difficult to be able to get that ultimate down on, especially with the fact that, right, you got the heal coming down, you're able to hide yourself in that ice wall, so it's like you're pretty much just really getting sold for. I think when Tatman at this point having that counter is going to be really difficult to kind of go against, and we're going to see Anyhow pushing up, taking these picks down, everybody one by one, the charge so high, and the damage as well, and now really retaking that, taking it back over to their side here for GeForce.
Yeah, GeForce, I mean, at this point, they don't need to get the robot to be pushed any further, right? As long as they keep it on this side of the map, they've won. And they are successfully winning the important fights that matter, making some switches that make sense. But now, maybe the best chance here for Ceruleus to get a lot out of that ultimate, but they already lose two. Ooh, they even it up, though.
Oh, they just keep pushing as well. And there it is, a Mac not even close to seeing what could happen and seeing what is happening. One Tab-Man trying to stall out, not knowing where anybody is. It's Anyhow there, and we know Anyhow they don't go down easy either. So this is going to be a pretty big moment for them. The orb coming in to make sure to get some of that assist, that shielding down. But good enough for Ceruleus. They can hold back just a little bit more.
So Anyhow was the only one left alive. Like, kept pushing the point, like you said, but threw the ultimate in the air, did Anyhow, and was hoping to maybe get somebody when it came down. Didn't work out, that's for sure. So that's one that Anyhow, unfortunately, we did see that happen. I just have to point it out that ultimate was seen what Anyhow had done. But you know, now this is the best position that the card's been in for a while for Ceruleus. They just got to make sure they stay together, and then they can win this fight. If they win this fight, there's maybe a chance for them to have a chance on the match.
Yeah, no, I completely think so as well. It's seeming like here, the Dragon Blade is completely ready for usage, but will we be able to see that happen? Not so completely sure. Oh, okay, coming down. It's going to be the Mei wall. That really is just taking a lot of space here. And that's the most difficult part as well. Like, you got that Mei wall coming down. I think the Mei was a really good pick out from Pummy, but not really too effective in holding everything out, taking the damage in, making sure that they get some of that push, because in reality, the game is called push. You need some of that push.
And they're finally at a point where they can push it. Like, they played that last fight smart, and they didn't have to use really a lot in order to get the win. They got 4 ultimates. These next 2 fights are the most important one for them to have a chance. They have the ultimates to win it, but they still have to get the kills. And ultimate weapon, Blade out.
Ooh, Dragon Blade, their ultimate weapon, really looking for some bloodlust here. There it is, a Mac coming in reversal to that. And now, I mean, of course, I feel like at the same time, like GeForce, yeah, they sometimes allow Ceruleus to take it, but there isn't a lot of, you know, ground being gained in comparison to GeForce. Maybe they'll be able to take the lead this time, especially with the regather that GeForce has to do, but it's coming a little bit too close for me here.
This is the biggest thing, right? They've got to make sure they stay together if they're Ceruleus. They know that if they spread out too much, they're going to lose the fight. You can see because Pummy can stop the cart at the top there, that's why they've decided to get together, because they know that it's this last fight that matters most. They have the only ultimate up. They've got to make it, but that's a big anti-name.
Oh, great from Vacant. Being able to use that coalescence, making sure damage is coming through, but the Zero, I mean, working in cohesion here, taking the heals in, making sure that nobody's going to be able to get that heal in on the other side of GeForce here, but as we see, I mean, it really isn't just as easy as you think it is. There's so much going on your screen, and everybody's trying to really push forth some of that utility, but it's not working out in favor of anybody other than possibly GeForce, right? We're hitting that overtime. If Ceruleus can make it far enough to the point where maybe they're matched and equal, it'll work out well. It's coming close here. Oh.
Wow. Wow, the fact that they're still keeping this going on is incredible. Like, this is huge from Ceruleus, but again, they cannot, now you've got to stay with the cart the entire time. And the way that this works, the fact that you can kind of keep it contested there on that high ground, this makes it so easy for them to just contest as G-Force and allow for their respawners to come back in. And you still don't have that forward spawn if you're Ceruleus. This is such a nightmare for them to be in. This is almost impossible for them to try and actually get the win out of.
No, I think it could be something that we could see, right? Like once
they're doing it, they are doing it.
In, oh, okay.
And now they're about to get forward spawn. So this isn't done yet. There's still a good chance for Ceruleus here. This is as close as they get. Again, they can't lose any fights. They've got to keep bodies on the robot, otherwise it's over. They've got one ultimate to work with here, but they've got to be careful as they push down this last little bit.
The wall coming up, making sure to stop it. Beautiful May wall. And now they're going to push up. They're going to try to take over. Of course, it's not going to be easy, but there it is, right? At least Genji pushing up, taking that one in. The Blade Storm coming down. The Dragon Blade. Making sure. It's just so difficult to make a call here.
But they're keeping it going. That's the crazy thing. Like, you have these ultimates coming out from G-Force, and you think that they're going to make this go, and they can't do it. They're coming close to that next point. Just got to get to the line. Can they even get there? I don't know if they can get there anymore.
I don't think so. It's come way too close at this point. They have it. They have it. You said it yourself. Listen, you said this could definitely be something that they're able to win just because it's so messy. And I believe it. It looked like it was pretty messy.
But, like, it was not an easy thing for them to do. I don't think it can be stressed enough that, like, G-Force was very smart with how they were using the map there, because they know they just have to stand on the bridge and then they can just let their respawners come in, especially with the May being the one on that high ground to stall out for them. Like, they could really regroup really easily. It was easy for them to sort of come back into these fights because of where their spawn was. So they were smart in that, and then you have to come up into where they are if you want to dislodge them from the high ground if you're Ceruleus, and that's exactly what they did. There was like a 4-person anti-nade that came through from G-Force by Madero. I thought that was going to be it. That was going to be the fight ender, and then they were still somehow able to turn it around, even with 4 players anti. So, like, pushes, that's crazy. That is one of the craziest finishes to how something can go, and you know, I feel that this being a mode that is not necessarily something G-Force is as familiar with, that's why, you know, there's a lot more variable things that can happen, and that's kind of what happened there. But you have to give a lot of credit to Ceruleus, because with the distance the cart was pushed by G-Force, that's usually it. That's done for most games that you see a push that happens. So whether they win this series or not, the fact that they were able to do this against the contenders team, you have to take your hats off to them.
No, I agree. Of course, like, you know, some people might make the discussion, oh, but this is a push map, like, this is a brand new mode, Overwatch 2, like, this is something that you're not completely used to. I feel like, you know, you would have expected a team like this to be a little bit more in cohesion. And, of course, I'm not saying, you know, it's the worst thing in the world. I definitely do think G-Force put a lot of firepower in, but in all honesty, the May pick, I think it worked in the beginning. Once they picked it out, I do think, you know, maybe sticking with it for a little bit too long was not the play. I would have loved something a little bit more. I thought things were going so well for G-Force before they had that May pick, and it was interesting to see it come out. I feel like they definitely wanted a little bit more hold, but with a map that is quite literally called push, I would have wanted more damage. I would have wanted more push. I would have wanted something so kind of really hard to go against, but I mean, at the end, really good for Ceruleus.
We didn't see, like, a lot of the blizzards on our screen. Like, we were kind of looking at other areas of the fight when the blizzard ultimate was coming out from the May. So I don't know what value they got out of it, if they got any value out of it, if any. But, like, one of the things is, like, anyhow, throwing, like, listen, you're winning, like, so hard at that point. You've stalled out on the cart for a very long time. You're going to do a trick play. You're going to throw the Zarya ult into the air, let the Graviton Surge come down, and maybe you grab somebody in it. Like, I get that. But, like, it didn't pay off. It really didn't. And that's, like, one of the things that helps snowball for a team like Ceruleus. So, like, King's Row, Scrim's Row, everybody's got a billion hours on this. So, like, this is where you know, G-Force, like, you've spent so much time on this map. This is somewhere where I expect them to be very methodical. Like, you had a little bit of fun there on that map, and you ended up losing it. So, like, this is a map where you gotta right the ship if you're GeForce.
I think, you know, in terms of talking about possibilities, GeForce it's already looking like they're doing way better than what they were last time. They're getting a lot more ground. They're being able to get themselves onto that point, make sure that things are looking good. And as it is, right, like so much firepower from Ceruleus, but having that main tank go down, it is going to be the Junker Queen not going to be able to do much here. And the push up there, right? So you gain that ground, you get that capture, and already a lot of players on the extremities making sure that nobody's going to get some of that pushback.
Yeah, I think that they kind of just said, all right, let's go back to our bread and butter, which is this is the comp that we've seen them play quite a bit of, and let's just dominate them. And that's exactly what they did. And you know, that's what you expect from a contender's team. That's the sort of push that you like to see from them. That sort of execution. Although Ceruleus coming right back in and going to take that card back.
Yeah. Junkrat, though, coming out from one tap man, and I mean, of course, good damage. I feel like could really get out of this, but overall, maybe not a lot of work through, right? Pommy, although, okay, maybe looking good, getting some pushback there from the Junkrat, seeming like the ultimate ready, but there it is. They really are eliminating a lot of these players coming down. The heals aren't really working out. It seems like one Tapman is going to be able to try to utilize that ultimate, but not getting much. Pommy really working off of the headshots.
That ultimate is so satisfying when you hit the headshots like that, when you get multiple in a row. We only got one there for Pommy, but still, like, it's still, like, railgun is cool. Railguns are cool. That's just, you know, they're a cool thing. They're fun. And they're struggling a little bit for GeForce, but they're still in control right now. So they can take their time coming off that ultimate. Now you take out all the spam, it should get a lot easier.
They're really trying to do something. Like, come on. They haven't even reached it yet, and they're already pushing back towards spawn. It's GeForce taking over everybody. And you really don't have a say if you're Ceruleus, because, like, you quite literally cannot do anything. It's going to be Ultima Web that's going to be there to take you down. It's going to be Pommy that's getting tons and tons of headshots, and no matter what the case may be, still, regardless, you got those two ultimates down.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that they had their fun on the last map. They've refocused here, clearly. They've got over 5 minutes on the time bank entering into the final part of the map. Like, they're ready to move on to the grand finals is what it's feeling like right now for GeForce. And now if you're Ceruleus, you just got to figure out how you can kill this momentum that's been just built by GeForce on the first 2 points of this map.
Shots are coming down, looking really accurate.
Yeah, very accurate, indeed.
It's just Pommy on the Widowmaker, right? Accurate shots. Once again, coming onto this, you know, Sojourn. It never stops.
Doesn't, and now you've got another blade ready too. Like, you've got both of these DPS ultimates that you can try and finish this map off with. They might have like 3.5 minutes or so on this time bank if they're able to win this fight cleanly. They're backing away nicely though, and now is the time when Ultimate Weapon can come through with his ult.
Oh yeah, Dragon Blade comes down. There it is, up on it. Getting a lot of damage down. Ultimate Web really having to back off just because, right? You got that back off. One Tapman really cowering inside of their spawn. Oh, what is at this point? It's like you're meeting at the house. You're like, hey, come over. I got you. I got the drinks. I got the sodas, whatever, the pop, and they're having a party at this point. GeForce really invading Ceruleus' side, but there it is.
3 minutes and 47 seconds. That's a huge time bank. Like, that is not a small time bank at all. So a lot of credit over to the side of GeForce. They refocused after the last map. Again, push. You know, it's push. It's whatever. It's the new map. It's kind of weird. You know, not exactly like some of the other maps. You lose that. And now they can focus back up here. 347 is one of the bigger time banks you're ever going to see on a King's Row map. So now if you really want to push a point home, this is where you try and full hold if you're GeForce, and they definitely have the ability to do it. Let's see if that's what they can do. Now, on the other side, of course, Ceruleus, like, you just got destroyed, you know, on that push, right? Like your defense it was a house of cards. It fell over. It's okay. You can put it back up. Now's your time on offense. You didn't quite near there, right? They had the Junker, the Junkrat. I almost said Junkertown. I don't know why, but different. That's a map. That's not a person or a hero, whatever you want to call them. But offensively here, maybe they do something similar to what we saw GeForce run, and maybe you have a little bit more success if you run the full mirror. The one time we saw a little bit of a mirror, it was a little interesting on Circuit Royale, so I'd like to see maybe Ceruleus do that. I'm sure One Tap will either stay on this or maybe just get a couple shots off from the high ground and then make the switch. There's the switch.
Leaving one specific type of opening would be great.
Yeah.
As it is, having that Widow there, of course, though, like, they're going to be able to take that switch off. One Tatman didn't really get what he wanted.
Yeah, you just go for that play at the beginning. That's all. And then you switch over to the character. But, we're in the mirror finally. And the mirror's not going well, at least for Ceruleus here at the beginning.
Yeah, it's GeForce. I was going to say, like, you see Ceruleus and trying to get the push-up, trying to make something happen, and the fact that they're just not able to, just like GeForce did prior, it makes me feel like, all this pressure coming through, maybe it really won't be their game this time around. Probably already getting the first shot on One Tatman, so One Tatman getting down with that ADS. DPS is not going to be there to be able to do much here. But as we see it, right, there's just going to be a lot of push-up here. Plummy getting the other, and anyhow now really taking over. So you got everybody pushing out, making sure nobody's taking, any 2-4 steps outside of that spawn.
That feels much better.
And then they touch the spawn doors too, right? Looked like that's what happened as well. So they're on another level right now for GeForce, for sure. Like, This is getting to the point where, like, you're almost getting to some ultimates, and maybe that's what you're banking on if you're Ceruleus. But now you've got to come into ultimates again and already won that.
Coming down Ultima West, looking good as the Genji taking this one in. But a little bit further for Ceruleus, right? They're pushing back far. And as I say that, right, like, I curse myself, but it's GeForce once again winning out the fights continuously. Yeah, okay, you can take some space here, but it's not for too long. You're just renting it out for a second.
Well, now this is like your best chances right now, because like it's going to take a little bit of time for the one player who went down to get back. So you have to take advantage now. But you have the Coalescence on the other side, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Coalescence there. Madero doing tons and tons of damage. 1 minute 40 seconds left. I mean, in comparison to the time, even if something spectacular happens, Ceruleus is pretty much done for in terms of, coming into maybe an overtime or of some sort and seeing how things are going to go. But I'm not so sure exactly what could happen at this point, seeming like Madero already on the high ground trying to reposition themselves, and they're just playing like cat and mouse at this point.
They have the ultimate now, so like this has to be their chance. And ooh, that's a good start. You got ultimate weapon down with using his ult. So now's the one time where Ceruleus has a chance.
Yeah, the one time Dragon Blade comes out. There it is, the deflect. Coming down, doing a lot of damage. There it is, the Trillion, though. Okay, we're seeing something. We're gaining some ground here. We're gaining some picks. And there it is, right? We're reaching that second mark, able to get the third. Maybe we'll be able to take the payload as well, a little bit further than what we did prior. But now, kind of getting that reload down on, the amount of time that we're going to be able to have down in our pockets. That's going to be great. Ceruleus having a little bit more time down in their belt. And if GeForce held it a little longer, it would have worked out better.
Yeah, like now you need a very fast push through the streets phase, right? If you really want to have a decent time, because of how long it took Ceruleus to get through, GeForce just needs to regroup. Like, they did something a little different to try a different strat out, which is clearly what was happening. They were basically by spawn and we're up on that high ground messing around. Like, now's your time to refocus up, kind of, figure some things out. And not that you need to figure anything out, but just regroup. Like, that's all they really need to do, because when it's a fight in an area that makes sense, GeForce has been the dominant team, but they haven't been able to be that right now.
No, not just yet. Although, Okay, there comes the weekend. There comes the push out. Ultimo Web playing off and moving up. A Mac, though, coming through with the Dragon Blade. Tons and tons of damage, tons of push up. There it is. The payload coming really, really close. We'll be able to get maybe something, a little bit more time there as well down in their pockets for Ceruleus to be able to kind of have that addition in. But of course, I mean, definitely further than what we saw within that first kind of half here coming in. G4 struggling just a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit, but again, they've done the work at the first part where they still have a time bank advantage at this point. Now it's just about getting a fight that goes in your favor. It's still even right now, so it's not done yet.
Not yet. Push up, there it is anyhow. Taking over the double kill. Looking good. Of course, though, like, we have such a heavy reliance on anyhow everything going on GeForce. Oh, they take tons and tons of people.
You know, they finally have the cart stopped, and now you're at the far part of the map, too. So, like, this is sort of like when, you know, we saw this happen on Circuit Royale previously, where, like, if the cart is really far forward, it's such a disadvantage for the attacking team. So this is going to be really hard for Ceruleus now. And they're going to have so much distance that they have to go through just to get to the cart. You can see that GeForce has already closed that gap, not allowing them to get anywhere near the cart. So you almost have to win 2 fights almost, or to really maybe get this through.
Hummy, there it is. Working around the back, making sure nobody can see them where they are. But of course, I mean, you get taken down regardless. Ceruleus
Get on the cart.
gaining a lot of ground here. Ooh.
Get on the cart, though. You did it. All right, there you go. You wasted only a couple seconds, but it's like, that's okay. They should still be able to get this point. But again, we're entering into the final point, and Gompers, the time bank difference is just massive, right? So this is going to be really rough for them to have some sort of time bank. You just want a time bank at this point going in to the next part of this match.
Yeah, the time bank is the most important, but they don't have a lot. It's not really much of an investment at this point. Like, taking it as far as you can is the most important thing. Working for that time can really be a detriment, especially because you're going to get yourself pushed back, as we already see it, right? Like, you're pushing, you're trying, you're desperate, and then everything just starts to crumble.
So, one thing of note to remember here, for those of you who might have forgotten, Overwatch 2 hasn't changed some of the time rules. 3:47 on the clock for GeForce. If this push takes to overtime for Ceruleus, they will not get a chance to attack a second time. They will only be able to defend, and there'll be 3:47 for 33.3% of the map to be taken by GeForce. But of course, you first have to complete the map if you're Ceruleus to get to that, and that's the biggest struggle right now, because with the amount of time left, it's going to be really hard to have any time to get yourself a second attack on this map.
Anyhow, really is trying to put everything forth. We're gonna see that ultimate might possibly come out. There it is. And a little bit of a loadout there. So the triple kill down. We're gonna see GeForce take the team kill. And now that space completely taken over. We got 24 seconds left, Labosco, and I mean, 20 seconds left. Even if they get it at this point, Ceruleus aren't going to be working with much, you know, coming into the other half.
There's a little bit of magic that happened on the last map in a dire situation like this. I don't know if there's going to be that again for Ceruleus, but they've got to make it happen here.
Yeah, if they can. Tommy's already in the back line, making sure to hide on the extremity, trying to get some of these pigs down. But one tap man, I mean, really living up to the expectations of their name. The overtime comes through. Can they make it close enough? It's a couple seconds that could go down, that could really turn it the other way around. Already as it is, we're going to see the Coalescence come out, trying to at least gather some heals, maybe some damage, do as much as they can at this point, but it does seem like GeForce not willing to give up. Just one person having to get onto that payload to make sure nothing happens, and the Dragon Blade comes down. There it is, the push in, everything working out in favor of GeForce. Ultima wet with the first and the second, Centrillion down, the healers no longer, and there it is, the overtime over, and it's GeForce completely winning out.
Yeah, there just wasn't enough in the tank to get that last little bit for Ceruleus. A very valiant effort from them, of course, being able to take one map. I mean, GeForce up until this point hadn't lost a map, you know, in this tournament at all. So a very, very good job at least being able to say, hey, we took a map off of them. You know, we took a map off a Contenders team. Like that, they can say that now, right? So
Hmm.
that's something that they're going to have regardless. So a really, really tough way for it to end, of course, 3-1. But getting, like I said, getting one still pretty impressive when you consider who the other team is.
No, 100%. And it's not easy either. Like, you saw G-Force once again living up to the expectations of their name, by the way. It's quite literally a force coming through. Whether it be the first, I feel like the only time we didn't really see them push as far as they did, maybe in the second half of push. I do feel like I saw a lot of push in the beginning half, but still, regardless, like, this is not an easy team to beat. There was a lot going on. The fact that Ceruleus was actually able to even take it close coming into, this kind of map, I do feel like, lots of kudos. If there was ever a rematch over time and Ceruleus was able to, kind of regather their steps, see what went wrong, I feel like it could have been a lot closer. G-Force, I mean, they had a lot of competition here.
Yeah, they definitely made it a match by Ceruleus. That is for sure, right? They did not make it. They did not cower just because it's a contenders team on the other side. And regardless of what G-Force did, like, you could clearly see how talented of a team G-Force is, right? Like, there's a lot of talent on their side. Their DPS, Pommy, and Ultimate Weapon are incredible. Anyhow has been playing the tank, between him and Strider normally. They have very good tanks, and then Madero and Magic 8 Ball too. Awesome team. Again, they've already won one of their games in contenders. They're looking to put some, a little bit of money in the pocket. Maybe this is a little bit of Uber Eats money that they're looking to try and get, and they're guaranteed at least some of it now too. Is the best part.
Yeah, it's great for G-Force. I do think, the battle isn't over, though. Like, yeah, Ceruleus was really great going against G-Force. I 100% think so. I think G-Force is gonna have a really hard matchup with Final Mouse and friends. I don't think it's gonna be, obviously the easiest thing in the world, just because of seeing Ceruleus and the fact that was a tough matchup, not coming into this grand final. It's the best of the best really going against each other. And you look at the fact that, okay, contenders players on GeForce, contenders players on Final Mouse and friends, so I do feel like maybe more so on point here.
It's going to be close. It's definitely, this is going to be GeForce's toughest battle. I think that they're still, if you're picking a favorite here, especially because, some of Final Mouse's friends players had to leave and we had some subs, not that their subs did bad, right? They still ended up sweeping. They still took a 3-0 victory. But I think if you're setting odds, your odds-on favorite is still GeForce going in here. But, like, I'm excited for the grand finals regardless. When money's involved, things change a little bit, don't they?
No, 100%. And things change. But maybe some records change too. GeForce, they could be completely taken out. Maybe Final Mouse and friends will not be friends anymore after the next game that we're going to see. But we will see you after this break.
It is grand finals time here for the Overwatch 2 Community Calls Tournament, brought to you by EGL. I am Labosco. Gompers here with me as well as we get ready for our grand finals match between GeForce and Final Mouse Friends. It's been a battle up until this point. Well, maybe not so much for these two teams. I think between the two of them together, Gompers, they've lost a total of 1 map up until the grand finals.
That's pretty impressive. I do have to say. I'm questioning though. What if it's a stomp here? What if we're gonna see something we didn't really think we were gonna see before? I do think, you know, in terms of like let's say the pick'ems, I guess. I do think, you know, running away with it. Maybe GeForce is gonna be the one. Of course, like they're a team that's pretty much on top. Yeah, they lost a map to whomever, but I do think regardless of that, they're pretty strong unless you go to push, which I feel like would be pretty good for Final Mouse. Hint hint.
Well, funny that you mentioned that, because the team that gets to pick the map mode that we do twice is the higher seeded team. So it will be Final Mouse Friends because they were the team that have the higher seed. I think seeding was maybe just based on who. I don't know how seeding was determined for this tournament in particular, but it doesn't matter. Final Mouse Friends have the higher seed, so they will get to choose what map type is our one that we see twice. It's going to be Control because Ilios is where we're going first. So they didn't pick Push, but they did pick Ilios, and this is a good map to start off on, and we'll see if we see a little bit of a difference here. We're already seeing GeForce come out with a different compers. They're going to play the Wrecking Ball along with the Ash and the Tracer, so switching things up a lot. Final Mouse Friends doing that comp we saw GeForce play in the last game, and they just drop right on top of the Ana and just obliterate her, as Final Mouse Friends will have the early control.
Yeah, and with two teams just as equally as aggressive, like Final Mouse and Friends GeForce, you know, this is definitely going to be like pedal to the metal type of thing, where you're consistently seeing a lot of push-up, a lot of players really taking control here. Zero really good with a shot off of Pummy. Taking Pummy down as well is going to be huge for your team, because Pummy, main sniper here.
I will correct, by the way, 3 maps total by these two teams. 2 for GeForce that they lost, and Final Mouse Friends lost 1 map. So not quite the only 1 map, but 3 maps total on when there was 54 teams, 55 teams in the tournament. That's pretty wild, and it's also, you know, pretty wild to see so far that Final Mouse Friends, they're in pretty good control here, and we're actually seeing their players playing, I think, in their best roles as well. Vega, those of you will remember, is playing at DPS, but is actually a support player, and that's what we see them on right now for Final Mouse Friends. And speaking of Vega, gets a kill on the Brigitte to keep Final Mouse Friends in front, already up to 50%.
Yeah, coming at that half point, Final Mouse and Friends doing really good. GeForce are struggling, which is something I didn't think I would see. But Strider coming on, here to the Wrecking Ball is looking pretty good.
Already has 2 kills on it. Came in, was playing, didn't play in the last game that we saw. Anyhow, was the one who got to play there. And now GeForce able to come back in thanks to their Wrecking Ball. And we're seeing players get ferried back, but they're sticking with this comp for Final Mouse Friends.
GeForce, finally. Okay, coming in 15%. They're really going up in the numbers here. But of course, now it's going to have to be the work to make sure that they can keep it. This is going to be the fight to have to be able to somewhat come a little bit to equal terms with Final Mouse and Friends. Already GeForce pushing up, and it looks good so far. But of course, once again, right, like you got Ultima Wet sticking to the extremities. And as it is, it's working out, but you go too far, you're going to get punished.
Ultimate Weapon's got a Pulse Bomb available too, so, you know, a little bit of figuring out where either are positioned. Up to 42% right now. Strider with a nice little cancel in the air to try and stay with that Genji. Pile drives down, doesn't quite get it, but now can roll back and reinitiate back in when ready. Pushes the Brigitte away, trying to not get players get that extra shielding, but Vega is doing work on the Brig. And Final Mouse Friends, they should be able to get this flip back over almost even between these two teams, 70% to 63. So GeForce, you know, we're getting into last fight territory. They've got to get something going.
Yeah, this is surprising to see. G-Force getting pushed back real hard. Strider, though, having their ultimate, so does Madero. So this is going to be great. They can get a really harsh push coming in. Madero can really be kind of like that insurance to make sure that G-Force have it. There it is, right? You got at least that Dragon Blade coming through, and the fight commences here.
Still nothing coming through just yet, but now 2 kills come onto the board for the side of G-Force. Astronex just caught in the corner, just uses that rally ability to try and get a little bit of extra shielding to stay on for a little bit longer. They get to 99%, but that's all for Final Mouse Friends. And now G-Force back in control. Had to use some ultimates is the only problem. 2 available for Final Mouse Friends.
Ooh, 99% for Final Mouse. Really, really close. I mean, now it really isn't like, hey, you have to win this fight. It's okay. Well, you win if you don't win if you. I'm completely messing up my words. You will not win if you give it up at this point. So G-Force definitely having to really take over if they are able to really take advantage of everything that's about to happen right here. This fight gonna kind of explode, and Final Mouse having the ultimate to be able to ensure something, at least the pick there, real nice.
Good start off for the side of Final Mouse Friends. Have the sound barrier on to keep themselves healthy through those 4 players that are left on for G-Force. Get the flip over, and you can see they're trying to regroup here for the side of G-Force. In with the ultimate comes the Junker Queen, gets the help of her team to get a few more kills, and this is looking like a good first point for Final Mouse Friends. We've got a good battle on our hands. It went 99 to 99%, and then Final Mouse Friends take point number 1. They have a 1-0 lead here on Ilios.
1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. Final Mouse and Friends. Surprising coming in, but it's not over yet. We're talking about, you know, a matchup that we said would be tough, and G-Force, you know, they got a taste of what Final Mouse and Friends are. They got a taste of, okay, well, this is a contenders team as well. This isn't some random team that we're going up against that recently has made their roster. This is serious.
Yeah, Vega, Astronex, Zera, they're all very high quality players. Bun as well. I think they're all contenders level players. So, like, you know, maybe they're not a full one roster, but a lot of these players have played together on other teams and stuff as well. So, like, don't count them out just because, you know, G-Force is just full one roster. But G-Force, you know, we're on to Ruins. They're playing the Ash. This is a little bit better of a map for an Ash.
I agree so as well. I do think Pummy, you know, really shining once again on a sniper, so I do like the Ash pick. Oh, I'm just wondering, right? Like, with shots like that coming out from Zero and Bun, is it going to work out?
We haven't seen them mirror this composition that we've seen them already play in this tournament that Final Mouse and Friends are running. So that is still something that's in the back pocket for G-Force. We've been seeing them play different types of compositions here first on Control. Not working out for them so far, though.
Yeah, but with the lead, I mean, you get a hold of the point first. It creates a really good, like, feeling. You feel pretty secure in the fact that you're able to take the lead first. And, of course, like, it gives you some time to kind of regather and recollect yourself under the circumstance that G-Force takes it back. And right now, G-Force really fighting to be able to at least gain some ground. But Zera is not making it easy, right? The elimination, of course, comes through. Pummy doing really great with the Ash.
The nice thing about losing the fight there for Final Mouse Friends is that now, you know, they have to walk up to the point in order for them to finally take it, get to almost 40%, so not a first point, or not too bad for Final Mouse and Friends for the start. G-Force, though, now in control.
Yeah, but there it is. They were in control before. They had a couple seconds down to their belt within the last round, and coming into this one, you know, you can say, hey, okay, but give them some credit. They took it, but at this point, right, taking it isn't enough. They have to keep it after this battle. If they win this one out, I honestly do think they could take the lead at this point. G-Force just really need this one. Strider switching on to that Wrecking Ball, looking good so far.
Very good so far, and making a difference. And now we're going to see them finally have a lead in percentage for the side of G-Force. Final Mouse Friends, they've got 2 ultimates up on the board, but there's 3 for G-Force.
Ultima Web having the ultimate, and everybody's grouping up real close there for Final Mouse and Friends. I'd be a little bit afraid, but already thrown down, no longer having that ultimate, and Tommy doing really good, getting the shots fired. Lots of damage done.
Lots of damage done, and still control for the side of G-Force as they build up to 62%. And, you know, they got plenty of ultimates to work with here. Bun maybe going to try and make a difference with this pulse bomb, kind of just waiting things out before getting going again. And now you can see them starting to advance. They want to get onto that back line if they can. Trying to get up where that Zenyatta is. That's a big dynamite coming out from Hummy. And then the ultimate gets thrown onto the point and Bob, but the blade coming out from Zera. Already one player down on the side of G-Force. The pile driver getting booped off by Graham.
Oh,
Animal's friends turning this around.
Oh, poor Strider. He's definitely not, you know, definitely not gonna tell that to the friends. Gonna keep that one down inside deep inside their mind when they go to bed at night. They're gonna be thinking about that play, but it's okay. At the end of the day, right? You get your second life. You're able to come back onto the point, try to take it away. Zera is gonna try to get some stall out.
That's huge. This is a chance for them to not only get out stall, but they have a chance to win the fight with the advantage. Strider just trying to keep things going for as long as possible. Transcendence coming out from the side of G-Force, now answered by Graham. Sound barrier. Astronex's going to go down. G-Force able to get the flip behind while the fight continues to go on. Gets to 99%. Have to go get the touch. Bun gets the kill onto the Ana. While driving down is Strider, making sure to just play on that edge, keep himself alive, even though there's a lot of players on the side of Final Mouse friends that are still up. They've got the overtime meter going down. Is the good thing for the side of G-Force. The pulse bomb hitting too will help them out, but Final Mouse have reinforcements coming in to try and keep this fight going.
Already the contest, Final Mouse and friends, whether or not this will be their final battle, we'll have to see. The Blade Storm out, Zera can really pull it through, but they're gonna get taken down before they can really do anything, and I feel like this would have been the time to be able to pull that. Of course, nobody's gonna be there behind.
So now you lose out on the Dragon Blade. Like you said, but they still have players on point, so not done just yet. Just have to deal with the Wrecking Ball. Strider able to get out, get that health pack. They do give up the point, but not so bad for G-Force. You did force out some ultimates, and you still have the mines available.
Straight up here. Ooh, Blade Storm coming out. Mummy's scared and terrified.
Terrified, but staying alive. Not a whole lot out of that ultimate, but that's okay. There's mines there that you have to deal with on the side of Final Mouse friends. You can see Vega trying to clear it away, trying to keep players up while using the rally, and just kind of stalling things out until we get to that 99 to 99%. Have to win here if you're G-Force, if you want to extend this map. Right now in control for Final Mouse friends. Still see that pulse bomb available for Bun. Looking for the opportunity. Went to go in. Daryl, though, that's a huge kill with the right click, and now they can continue to advance in. Zera answering back by taking Hummy down, pushing on in with that Transcendent, saves the Wrecking Ball from going down for G-Force, keeping them alive and in this fight. Ultimate weapon back in on the Tracer, uses the recall, tries to keep himself up, has a pulse bomb of his own. Sound barrier coming in, misses with the pulse, goes down. Zera and Graham combining for 2 kills, and now you've got Genji and Zera continuing to help clear out, and it will be Final Mouse friends that take map number 1.
And that's one of the best things, the Zenyatta utilizing that Transcendence. Surprise! Final Mouse and friends pulling through. And I mean, I really couldn't say it better. Final Mouse and friends, I mean, they played tremendously. They had the pushes coming down. G-Force were getting so pushed back. At this point, they were just, I mean, picks coming left and right. Look at Strider. I don't know. I feel like, you know, a little bit surprised. Yeah, G-Force getting taken down, but I did say, like, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, contenders, players on either side. So these are rosters we kind of expected to be here at this point. If we said that G-Force would maybe probably be the favorites coming into here, but it's not like they'd be heavy favorites, right? You know, if it was like, you know, 7-1 odds for G-Force, then it's like 8-1 odds or 10-1 odds or something for Final Mouse and friends. So it'd be like really, really close, right? The odds. If you know, this was Vegas or something, or don't gamble, just don't do it. But like, no, using that as a metric, you know what I mean. But
I gamble with my pickups. That's what I do.
There you
I'm
go,
I'm
exactly.
I'm a little underage to be gambling, so in order to fill that void in my life, I like to share my pickums online and get completely bashed by strangers. That's what I like to do.
Also, like, if you found like a place to gamble on this game, I'd be really impressed. Like, you know, like Overwatch League, I understand, right? Because it's a pro league and stuff. But like a
Yeah.
open tournament, like, you know, I don't know what back alleys people are going to make that one happen. But still, like, the point is here is like GeForce losing, not the biggest shock in the world, but it is a little bit
Yeah.
of a shock with how dominant that they had been on some of the games. But again, Final Mouse friends, they were dominating the game we saw from them, and they weren't playing their roles. So like, you know, we had Vega playing DPS, who has been a monster on the Brigitte, at least in this game so far, and that's what they normally play is support. So like, seeing that, you can see that Final Mouse friends feel pretty good here after map number 1. But
Yeah.
it is GeForce's pick, and it looks like we're going to Watch Point Gibraltar as our next map pick. Maybe we see... Now, I'm very curious to see what we see here from GeForce, because, like, Gibraltar, I always think of, like, Winston and stuff. Like, it's such a very good Winston map, and I don't think we've seen them play any Winston yet. Not that that's what we're going to see, but, like, that's one of the tanks that I think of, who you build around, as far as, like, for your composition. So, very curious to see what we get here on our next map.
Yeah, I do think on Gibraltar, I don't know. I mean, me personally, you know, I like to go with the Zarya. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the Zarya just because of the I don't know. I feel like Zarya is just so perfect under that occasion. But you know, looking into it, we're probably gonna once again see. Quite possibly, I feel like we're gonna see a sniper, maybe a Widow, maybe Nash, something.
You can do that, yeah.
Close and considerate to that. I just maybe on the defense side, seeing as to that would be a pretty decent pick. I don't know. Maybe it's me and my trash platinum brain that is just thinking these things, and that's where my head is going.
You know what? Thinking about it, I did manage to watch. Now, I wasn't watching from their perspective, but I did watch them in like the second round. I watched GeForce play. I was watching one of the teams were streaming. GeForce wasn't, but somebody on the other team was. And I think they did play Pummy on the Widow there, and they had control of like the spaceship on the second point. They had very good high ground control there. That was something that GeForce was doing. So maybe that is something that we do see from them a little bit later when they're on defense.
Yeah.
Who knows? One thing's for sure. Final Mouse friends, they ain't changing nothing. We're seeing the
dang.
same comp.
I saw Zarya, I was like, hey, the pick'ems.
Oh, no, so
they
did that.
changed it. Yeah, they changed the Zarya straight up to the Wrecking Ball. Zera, though, playing that Genji coming up on it. Woo, first
Goodbye,
pick.
Zen.
Yeah.
That's that was fast. That was really fast. That they've been able to isolate supports like that of GeForce's really well. And they've already gotten the first pick, and you can see they're kind of just playing very aggressively here, right where the card is, and keeping the aggression going. And Pummy is playing the Ashe, trying to create some space. Big dynamite onto multiple targets, but Strider goes down here, so they lose their initiator, their space maker. But you know, Pummy can make some space too with the Ashe.
Yeah, is making a lot of space as well. Like, look at that damage coming down. There it is. But once again, right? Like, even Strider on the Wrecking Ball, this is like a Strider type pick. And I do feel like it really does serve GeForce well on occasion. Of course, coming into this, you can see how well it's working. You get a lot of space created, you get some of that stall out, and you're going to be able to see the payload go just a little bit further, the regather, the reposition coming through from Final Mouse, but they need Bun. I feel like, you know, having Bun come through, having that Tracer be kind of like the extract type of damage coming around the back and making sure that flank is cleared.
Well, it don't matter about the flank if Zera's just destroying everybody wherever they are. Already 3. Can't get Pummy, though. Pummy wins that, gets the shotgun shot, the coach gun, goes down eventually. But, I mean, the fact that Pummy was able to take out as many as he was able to before going down, like, that bodes well for the next fight for G.
Yeah, GeForce pushing up pretty good, right? Like, you got it almost at that first point. Strider trying to gain some ground here. Tracer, of course, being a really good matchup for a little hamster like the Wrecking Ball. But once again, like, you have to try to get the payload up far enough, but G-Force, like, they can't. It's always Final Mouse and Friends stopping them a couple seconds after they get that push down.
Well, now they're stuck between a rock and a ton of mines, as they're all in this room where that mega health pack is, and they're not going to be able to get out without going and stepping into something that's not going to feel well. Zera is able to get out, but gets kicked in the face by the Zenyatta, and now it's going to be G-Force moving through that car wash area, and they'll be coming around towards that first point. One more defense should be able to come through for Final Mouse.
Yeah, I think, though, ooh, yeah, they're rushing it forward, but I don't know if they're going to be able to really do much, right? You got the Discord Herbs coming through, the shots are hitting for the Zen. There it is, the Echo up on top.
And now you've got G-Force well in control. They also made the switch. Ultimate Weapon went over to the Echo, so playing the Echo with the Ashe, so a little bit of a switch there. Look at them chasing down, too. Like, they just... That's one thing for sure. G-Force always with the aggression.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Strider literally, I feel like Strider just doesn't care at this point. Is just really pushing forward, trying to get anybody, really, all the way in the back. But nobody's pushing the payload. They've completely kind of staggered here, and Pommy seeing that is going to try to work their way over to maybe gain some ground. Strider, of course, it's going to be the win. It's not the Winston. That is not a Winston. It's going to, of course, be the Wrecking Ball there.
Ah, they're similar. But, oh. Well, he's going to... Listen, they may have lost the fight, but he got some distance with the cart while that was happening, so I guess that's a win of some sort.
They just push past the Wrecking Ball, and nobody wants to deal with a Wrecking Ball. And I mean, it shows, but at the end of the day, at least Strider was able to get a couple inches.
Yeah. A couple yards.
Maybe.
Meters. It's metric. We should use the right terminology, I guess, right?
Yeah. A home run, if it were football, maybe.
Yeah. Yep. And now Ashe getting just jumped on by everybody from Final Mouse Friends. But again, you know, Strider is just moving the cart by himself while the fights are happening. He gets so close to the door. So even though his team, again, sort of loses a fight, like, you gain so much room that maybe it doesn't matter.
I just realized I said home run for football and home run is for baseball.
I thought you were
I'm not a sports
joke,
person.
so
I'm not. No, that was completely unintentional, and my head is completely fumbled. But nobody's fumbling here. As if that was a good pun there. Nobody's fumbling the bag here for G-Force. Of course, I mean, you got the Echo working above the ground there, but it's working out for G-Force as it is. They're taking a lot of picks here. Pummy's doing a great job with the damage.
Yeah, and again, this pays off by, you know, sure, you didn't really win fights there, but Strider was able to push the cart so far. The one fight you didn't need to win, they do, and now the doors are open. They're on the final part of the map. Time bank's getting a little low, though.
Yeah, really hitting the edges there. And you got Final Mouse and Friends already having the first round. I mean, the first game in, so G-Force definitely feeling some of the heat here. But they're adapting really well to the playstyle of Final Mouse and Friends. Zenyatta coming out, at least with their ultimate here, but not able to touch much ground.
Not going perfectly for the side of G-Force, is losing players on either side, but they're getting enough done where they're able to keep this momentum going forward. So now Final Mouse Friends starting to come back in. Zera dashing through, gets a kill. And then Vega combining for another one. And Genji making a difference on the side of Final Mouse Friends. A minute 42 here as they'll have to regroup for G-Force.
Great on the hold. Great on the stall. The Dragon Blade available in case... And I do think the Dragon Blade would work really well with, you know, everything going on. Like, Asher has their ultimate as well, so kind of coming into cohesion with that, I think things could work out really in favor here for Final Mouse and Friends if they could get that hold back. Strider, though, is being great.
Not enough, though. 3K for Zera with the Dragon Blade. So the ultimate you pointed out makes all the difference. But again, Strider behind, pushing the cart, and he's gonna get away. Like, you win the fight, but the cart moves anyway. It's so, oh, it's got to be so frustrating to be final mouse friend.
It's extremely ironic as well because it's just nobody wants to touch the payload other than Strider. Like, I feel like majority of times we've seen everybody just kind of sitting around chilling out and Strider's around the back like, hey, I'm here. The payload's moving. Just so you know.
And you've either got to deal with him or he's doing it again.
Oh,
he's doing it again. They pushed forward to win the fight, and now they've got to go back for the cart though. And you can see Zera making his way back. The Echo was there as well, and now they've got to come through some mine. So it's Ultimate Weapon and Strider trying to really do this by themselves. They're going to have these sound barriers they have to try and get through in order to make this work. Strider finally going down. 8 seconds left, so Ultimate Weapon has to be the one to go get a touch. I don't know if Ultimate Weapon's gonna have the time to get there. Oh, just can't. But they do push the cart really far.
Far enough, good enough, but I mean that leaves enough room for Final Mouse and friends. Seeing as how they might be able to do, I'm just surprised. Like, it happens a lot where Strider's like sitting on the back lines and moving that payload, and nobody has tried to counter that. Nobody's like, oh, this has happened one too many times, let's kind of get something, let's have somebody kind of sitting around here or some information or something so that we know, hey, Strider's coming back. Like, I don't know, at that point I feel like Strider just kept running away with it because they were like, yeah, this is easy.
Well, right, they win a 5v4, right, which you expect Final Mouse friends to do. So like, I guess they were like, well, yeah, he'll push the cart, but like they won't get it the entire way, which is true. That's exactly what happened. So like the strat got the cart close, but it didn't get it the entire way. But this is maybe where their comp does better, Gompers, because, you know, defensively, you know, he can just be wreaking havoc everywhere. He'll be playing more with the team this time. And the Ashe, it's a little bit easier to play her defensively than it is to play her offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's easier. Maybe.
I think, yeah, I think defensively but it's Pummy. I can't even say that because Pummy played exceptionally with the Widowmaker, regardless of what was going on. I do think though, like having some standby and being able to just sit and make sure, you know, you're watching everything. I feel like, yeah, it might be easier to.
Still have to win though if you are G-Force. And Final Mouse friends starting to push that cart, coming around that first corner, and now this is where Strider's going to be a real annoyance because he can come and contest really whenever he feels like it. And Wrecking Ball, if you play him well, can get in and out of fights so easily. Pile drives back in while Ultimate Weapon is really just trying to play it with that Wrecking Ball and find some targets, and pot shots are coming through from the Ashe. Zera comes in, dives onto the Zenyatta, but goes down himself to the Tracer. So this is still okay for the defense. They still have high ground control, and they're not even into the car wash yet for the side of Final Mouse friends, as they are losing all their players, and the cart is stopped.
Yeah, no more push for the payload. Some stall out here. Zera's trying to work around the back to make sure, hey, I'm going to try to get this flank around. Let's take out this Ashe, because Pummy is going to be the main objective, especially with the fact that they're really heavy on the damage consistently.
And then Zera gets a pile driver dropped right onto his head from a gigantic ball that is, you know, affectionately called Wrecking Ball by some. Most people probably not so affectionately. There might be some expletives from others. Not saying I'm one of those people, but I know of a few that are not the biggest fan of Wrecking Ball, so.
Yeah, I am, me. You're naming me. I think the Wrecking Ball, if I'm not playing, I think the Wrecking Ball is great, but if I'm playing, I will probably rage quit. That's in all honesty. But, you know, Strider, if Strider was in my lobby, I'd probably run away. I don't think I would play. Like, Strider is so aggravating within this game.
And now you're seeing again the strength of their comp here on defense. So this is where they really shine. Maybe not the best offensively, but they're definitely being very successful defensively. That cart's having trouble. We're down to a minute 44 as well for Final Mouse friends. They've got to get through these mines, and Astronex, you know, can clear them out as best as they can on this hero in the Junker Queen, but she's not really made for that. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough go. as Zera not quite able, or sorry, Bun not able to get that pulse bomb to connect. And now you've got the dynamite ticking through. They're stuck in this little room again for Final Mouse friends. They're able to push out finally, but again, we're down to almost less than a minute now. Minute 12 left. They do lose their Ana though for the side of GeForce, so maybe this is where things start to turn around.
Yeah, but here it is. Like, you can see GeForce, their main objective isn't, you know, oh, we take as many as we can get. It's we're not letting them get through. But of course, Final Western friends don't really care about the objective. All they care about is Strider. It's just sitting there.
Swings around, stalls for about 10 seconds, and now we're kind of in, I don't know if they're going to be able to get a fight here, but they can get control for the next point. So like it works out, even though he doesn't, you know, get a whole lot done there at the end. Now they really can contest at these doors, and they have control of the high ground, it looks like already too.
Yeah, at least being able to get it, you know, to that first point, the payload getting further and further each and every second. GeForce though, I mean, they really are doing good with the, you know, time stall out. We got the Dragon Blade coming out. Oh, Zera. Dang.
That was rough. No value at all out of 2 ultimates. Like, they didn't get anything out of their sound barrier too. So like, really tough spot, and very healthy Strider coming back in to be the nuisance that you expected. They do have the Junker Queen ultimate available to them, and they are starting to move the cart, but again, Time Bank is starting to whittle down, and now here comes out the mines right onto the cart. They do lose their Zenyatta thanks to Zera, but this is still a fight that you have to win. Bun will finish off Pommy, get the stick. That's how you win a team fight to start moving this cart again. Final Mouse.
Yeah. Great. Strider's down, so they can't just swing around like the little ballerina anymore, sitting on that cart. So now the payload finally able to move some sort of way. It's unfortunate for Strider, especially because, you know, being that main hold, being that main stall that just GeForce really relies on. But I do think, right, like, yeah, you can play and you can run around and whatever, but, you know, you're only so effective at that point. You're playing that tank correctly. Yes, you're stopping, you're contesting, you're doing that job. But of course, I mean, maybe Pommy is really just, maybe that's just a distraction for Pommy to get the shots.
Yeah, especially when you throw Bob out too, who can help stall as well. Here's Zen, gets a pick off onto Bun as well, and GeForce is now sitting pretty, using a couple of ultimates to get this to come through. And now we're down to that minute mark. It's getting tough for Final Mouse friends. We might be evening up here in this best of 5 series.
I think, I'm not so sure. I don't know. GeForce doing really good with the pulls. I feel like there's definitely, like, it's a lot harder for Final Mouse and friends than it was for GeForce, especially with the fact that they had Strider before, who was working around the back, taking it a couple feet more, and now, oof, like, look at this. Pommy, great with it.
That combination, insane. The pile driver, the dynamite, plus the pulse bomb in. Amazing. They played that so well by GeForce, and now we're down. 24 seconds left. They do have Zera's ultimate. They do have the Junker Queen ult, but the Dragon Blade, the one to look for here. Nano Boost on the other side. And here comes Zera. Gets hit with that dynamite. So do a couple of other players on his team. Biding his time for his opportunity. Gets pile driven down to 3 HP. Was down to 1 at one point. They're able to keep him up for the moment. Sound barrier in order to keep him alive. Vega goes down though on the Brigitte. Zera never getting to use the Dragon Blade in the fight. They are starting to lose momentum for Final Mouse friends. Ultimate weapon on the other side has a transcendence from Madero to make sure that he stays up healthy, and there's mines in the way. Bun just blinks right into one. And this is all evened up. 1-1 GeForce. Pretty dominant here on the defensive side.
All right, 1-1. Final Mouse and friends, GeForce, pretty much equal terms. But in terms of, like, I feel like somebody who always catches my eye is I believe it's Pommy. I don't know. I feel like Pommy has, like, just always been on the kill feed, no matter what the case may be, always taking those shots, the headshots, whatever, creating a lot of those openings. Not even that, but even if it's not an opening, you take the healers out, you kind of corner them into a position where they can't do much. You're really setting your team up for success, and I feel like Pummy has been such a great DPS coming into this that I really just have to give some of that notice through.
Yeah, as we start to look at some of the highlights here from this Watchpoint Gibraltar map, Pummy we've seen on the Widowmaker, anything hit scan, right? Anything where there's a hit scan DPS, Pummy has been shining. You know, that's part of probably why they decide to go somewhere here like Watchpoint Gibraltar, where you can really play the Ashe on that high ground really well. You can even play the Widowmaker at times if you want. Like, it's a map pick that makes sense, especially because it's maybe not played as much as we've seen so much Circuit Royale, so a little bit less played than Circuit Royale, so it makes sense maybe from that perspective too. You want to go back to one of the tried and trues, and they really showed why this was their map pick. Also, like, I feel like Strider, like, even though like he's a nuisance, we talked about him already, but the back capping matters. It mattered. It really did matter.
No, it 100% did. Even a couple of feet can really set you up for success, because that could be the couple of feet that the opposing side can't get, or even then, it could really be just the add-up additionally that Strider had. And not to mention, right, okay, yeah, Strider coming along the back, being able to get a couple feet in, it's also the fact that, okay, Strider was also able to stall out, contest, do everything in their power on the defense to make sure that Final Mouse and Friends wasn't moving as far as they wanted to. Strider was the person, you know, who you wanted to be on Final Mouse and Friends. Let's say there were two Striders, right? Like, you want a Strider on your team to contest and make sure that nobody's flanking around the back and taking, you know, the payload a couple feet. And that's what I felt like was missing from Final Mouse and Friends. I feel like that contest was so dire for GeForce.
Well, and for Final Mouse Friends, it also kind of maybe it's play style a little bit too, because like they stay a lot more together with how they kind of are playing in that composition. Maybe that has something to do with it as well. You have to wonder, right? Because like there's clearly a plan that came out from GeForce that like you don't expect like, okay, we're gonna have our tank back cap and that's gonna get us plenty of distance and help us win these fights. That's exactly what they did, and it made a difference. Like, I don't know how that call ends up coming through, where you're like, yeah, we'll take a 4v5, but it'll work out in the end. Actually, like that's pretty insane to me. So you got to give a lot of credit to GeForce here to even this thing's up 1-1. It is the pick for Final Mouse Friends for our next map, which is going to be hybrid, and their choice has been King's Row. So everybody's favorite map, we get to see it again. King's Row is making its way back for our hybrid choice, and we know that this is a place where the composition that Final Mouse Friends has been running, place where you can definitely run it is here, because we saw even GeForce do it.
Yeah, this is it. Whew. I think here, what would be great? I mean, Strider's just going to take advantage of the Wrecking Ball once again. But, you know, we always see, I feel like there's a lot of abuse coming through for that Junker Queen. And I don't think, you know, sometimes I feel like maybe just a little bit too much. Yeah, Junker Queen's great, a little bit OP at that. Ooh, but when you're going against somebody like Pummy, you're getting picked off one by one. Like, you need something there. You need some type of shield.
That's crazy though. Like that's the ultimate start for GeForce, right? And now they're all sitting in that little area behind the Mondada statue where the health pack was. And for ultimate weapon, when you're playing the character with sticky bombs that you can just throw in there, it's like shooting fish in a barrel at that point. This has gone. The composition Final Mouse Friends was running and how they positioned themselves was just the worst for the rollout that happened from GeForce.
Hilarious too, because I mean, you saw Ultima Web literally, like it was like looking for fish at that point. Ultima Web was fishing for these guys on Final Mouse and Friends, in the sky, flying around, seeking out the everybody, all of the prey. And I mean, here it is, right? Like once again, just doing so great on the Echo.
Echo's such a fun pick to watch, too. I enjoy the play style from it, and Ultimate Weapon just bursting players down. You see blowing up Zera on the Genji. No way you can reflect the beam, and now, again, they were dominant the last time we saw them on this map on their offense, and they're looking like this again, but this time they're doing it with a different composition, and they're making it work.
Yeah, payload moving up. G-Force. Okay. We're playing a little bit of ping pong there from Strider. See,
that's showing off.
You know,
that's impressive.
I love watching Strider.
Yeah.
I love watching Strider because it's either they're doing something really weird or they're doing something really good. It's never anything other than that.
It's always entertaining. If you're a good wrecking ball and like you know things about that hero, like you can do some crazy stuff for sure. And like what we just saw, obviously one of those things that I never knew about. So that's kind of cool. And
obviously tactically so smart.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps you up in the high ground, and then you can pile drive in. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool, and then you can swing in. Like, now you got to win the fight, and now this is not a place you want to be with a Bob. You don't want to be in a small area. That's disastrous. If you're the side of Final Mouse friends, you're going to have to try and get away there. And now they're stuck behind an attacking team who's pushing the cart forward. This is like the worst place to be cut off from your team.
Yeah, it's really difficult. The moment that cutoff comes through, you're left with not too much to work with. Zera, though, coming along the back and making sure they have that Blade Storm. They tried to make it, but Pummy, I mean, going to take that one down. Of course, the ultimate's still there in their hands for Zera, so they could recollect themselves here.
Going to have the rally come out from Vega, so even though they were stuck behind, they make it work out, and now they have control of the cart, and you know, not exactly the best place for the cart to be stopped. If you're on the side of G-Force, this could be a little bit of trouble for them, depending on how this next fight goes. You can see already they've got Strider coming in, trying to disrupt. You've got Astronex coming back in, trying to deal with the players out in front. Blade coming out from Zera, trying to cut through at the end of that Zenyatta ultimate, and now Final Mouth friends should have control once again, slow things down. The cart did get a little more distance close, so they almost got that. Yeah.
Yeah, close the distance, close the space. Of course, there it is, Final Mouth and friends. But the problem is the payload is way too close, you know, for comfort coming into that point. So already looking a lot better than how things were before. G-Force coming in really close to that close off, and it's going to be Strider once again trying to work around the back there. The heels coming through real close. Okay, Tracer's ultimate touching maybe just a little bit too close there. Fun, almost having that takedown.
But now he gets healed up, and he's able to come in with the mines, and now he gets the overshield that he can throw on too. And now he's got a ton of life, but Zera's able to get Pummy down, so a lot of damage is going to be gone from the side of G-Force. It's going to be a tough fight to win, 5v4, and Strider goes down, so the full regroup has to come through. 2 minutes left to go for G-Force. Now it's getting a little scary for them.
Yeah, a couple more fights down their belt before things really go awry. I feel like here, this is probably going to be the most important fight as well. I feel like time taken way too close. It's going to create a lot of pressure, but they have enough time to be able to really gather their thoughts. Bob is going to come pretty soon for G-Force here as well. So this is the time. This is the time to really, you know, take things in stride. Strider, really talking about that is already doing a lot of the work in.
But here comes Final Mouth's friends, and their ultimate come out before we even get to see anything come out from the side of G-Force. Bob coming out now, though. They're not giving up, even though they lost multiple players on their team, trying to turn it around with the Bob. A Dynamite coming out as well, still fighting in the air. His ultimate weapon goes down, and Astronex on the Junker Queen. Still a little bit too much to deal with. Now you're getting in towards that last fight territory. But again, the card is so far away from G-Force. This is one of the biggest problems where if you get stopped here.
Yeah, and I said that fight was going to be really important, but they lost it. Now they have to try to pick another one, and this time, it's the cutthroat, it's the stress, it's Pummy.
Secret Agent Pummy right now.
On par. Maybe they'll be able to work with something at this point.
Maybe.
I mean,
well, gets a Dynamite. They get a couple players really low, but Bun back in to try and counter. Has the Pulse Bomb available. The rally coming out from Vega too, giving them the extra HP to make sure that they can stay alive, focusing in on Strider, but he has so much HP, so much focus on him. If you don't get him down, it can be disastrous, and that's exactly what's happening here for the side of Final Mouse Friends. Not done yet are GeForce, but they want to try and take themselves a map lead if they can get the win here. Of course, still have to complete this attack. Still being careful because spawners are closer for Final Mouse Friends. Overtime about to start now. And Zera has the chance to use the blade here, just waiting for that moment to come through with it. Can't stay alive, though. Gets taken out of the sky. And Pummy back into a position of power. This can really start to go heavily into the favor of GeForce. Get the stick as well. They should have enough done here where they can clean this fight up. They should hit that next point.
The next point is right. They're so close. There it is. It's just a couple inches away, but they're just not able to do much here. Great, though, because you got Strider really taking the shots in, and this is it. You get some time to be able to push it forward, but it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be 1 minute, 25 seconds left. I mean, with that addition on that, it's still pretty difficult to really push it forward that far in that amount of time.
Yeah, if you do complete the map, it's probably an overtime. So we're sort of looking at a situation to what they were on the opposite end of last time, where they had the big time bank, and the other team that they were playing was just trying to have some time at all. So that's where GeForce is right now, and for the side of Final Mouse Friends, you have to feel good, even though you did give up that last point, as you still have the ultimate advantage, still have the Dragon Blade available, and you've pushed back GeForce, at least for the moment.
Yeah, but the contest is just continuous. Bun really taking advantage of the fact that they're playing that Tracer, making sure they can sit at least right near that payload and have it on lockdown. But also Zera being able to really fully load at their ultimate as well. So that Dragon Blade could come through at any specific moment. And it could honestly be a carry.
And they win that fight. Now there's 15 seconds left for Final Mouse Friends to have to defend, and they can just back up, regroup as 5, and then come in and fight with an ultimate advantage. Actually going to even out here. They'll have maybe even the advantage because they've got two ults that are really close as overtime is about to start. Here come the ultimates on either side. Blade is out from Zera, gets hit with the anti-nade though, has to run away with it. Astronix able to take out the Ana. A lot of healing down on the side of GeForce. This might cause the end for them if they can clean this fight up quickly for the side of Final Mouse Friends. Ult bomb though, scary here. Just missing with it was Bun. But still, too much pressure being put on GeForce as they slowly whittle away from the side of Final Mouse Friends, and will eventually take this fight. And now, not the worst push in the world from GeForce, but still a golden box of victory that is there for Final Mouse Friends to maybe take a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, it's not secure enough. It really isn't. And with a team like Final Mouse and Friends, unpredictability can happen. GeForce, they can't just, you know, go a couple inches away and then expect to have a solid defense against this team. This team is going to create a lot of pushback. This team is definitely going to be one that you don't want to mess around with. Although I'm interested to see how they really kind of maneuver around that, what they're going to be able to pick. I believe we might be able to see a Widow in the initial start off, but I don't know. We haven't really seen a sniper here for Final Mouse and Friends. It's generally been the Tracer and the Genji.
Yeah, they haven't really needed anything else though either. Is I think worth pointing out.
Yeah.
So stick with what's working. But to your point, GeForce defensively, this composition for them that they're playing right now was much better than their offensive use of it. So this is still the worry, I think, if you're Final Mouse and Friends.
Yeah, another big part of that worry could also be just making it far enough. I feel like it's not close enough to the point where you're like, oh, this is a cake. This is a piece of cake, whatever. Even though it really is a difficult position to be in because you're going up against a team that isn't really easy to play against. So definitely the mental might be somewhere in the middle. I don't feel like they're feeling confident, but I don't feel like they're not feeling confident at all either. I definitely feel like they're very, complacent here. What?
This is a long rotation that they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to clear high ground, so you can go to the stairs here, and then you can clear the high ground. And that looks to be maybe what they're doing. And they got everybody through, right? They used the speed boost to do it, so not too bad of a plan. Is now you have high ground advantage where the point is. So that makes sense. But you still have to win the fight, right? If you lose this fight, you just took a lot of time to do this, and that is the worst thing that can happen, is the dynamite comes through, and then the Zenyatta follows up, gets a kill, and now it's ultimate weapon getting onto Vega. So you did all of that time to do that rotation, and you just died. You took off like a minute of your clock. You were down to 3 minutes already for Final Mouse Friends.
Oh. And you're right. You take so much time. You lose a lot of ground. You lose a lot of the time that could have been initially used to really kind of take the point, figure out what you need to do, but and maybe even possibly get a respawn in before you know, that repositioning came through. But it does seem like, right, coming back up again, trying to take the high ground once more. But is this going to work out like it did before? You still got Strider coming in, being able to close you off in those corners.
They do go a different way this time, and you can see they're purposely going that way. They're chasing down the supports, getting them off of the high ground this time. Much quicker to go that way, though, that's for sure. And now they can go back into Hotel, continue to chase around. This is just really a kiting game as of the moment, and right now it's, you know, not being won by either side. It's just kind of a back and forth poke. Pulse Bomb comes out, misses, and Zera gets the kill eventually onto the Ana. So the long play to get to the Ana does eventually work out for the side of Final Mouse Friends. Both supports down. Now you should have control, but that first initial play did take off a lot of time. So you're already under 2 minutes when you're getting this cap. You'll still get like, you know, 4 or 5 or whatever. I think it's like 2.5 minutes you get onto the clock, but it took a lot to get here.
Oh. Yeah, here it is, the payload coming out, but now it's gonna be the push up. It's gonna have to go at least within the tick of G-Force to be able to win this out. So now G-Force feeling the heat. They tried to give as much stall as they could. Didn't work out. Now is going to be the time to be able to possibly put out this Bob, have some stall potential if that can really work. But Ultima slowly on the move up.
Trying to hold at this choke. You can see them starting to get there for both teams, and now you're going to have Bun trying to sneak on the flank, maybe try and get this pulse bomb onto an unsuspecting backliner. They'll just poke out at the Tracer for the moment, and looks like they're going to try and regroup here because there's those mines that they're going to have to just wait out. They don't want to push through them and lose somebody unexpectedly to a mine they step on, so now they can start and restart this battle again. They've got a rally too to have a little bit more HP as they come into everything for this side of Final Mouse Friends, keeping themselves healthy, and now they can start to move the cart forward. But again, time is not on their side. They're under 3 minutes already, and we're just getting started through the streets phase here. The Bob gets pooped away, so that's actually really big for the side of Final Mouse Friends. Won't have to contest that the way you normally have to, and they get pummied down afterward. So Final Mouse Friends making some intelligent plays here, not worrying too much about that time bank yet because they're doing the right things to get the cart moving.
Yeah, here though, oh, real close. And this is getting dangerous. We're really hitting like a closed territory to be able to win this out for Final Mouse and Friends, and nobody's stopping the payload either. There was so much pushback there from G-Force that it had to be G-Force kind of just waiting and trying to take out these players from Final Mouse and Friends who had initially tried to give that push-up so that they could take this payload as far as they did. And now we're reaching really, really dangerous territory.
Stick coming through though by ultimate weapons, so they're doing okay if you can come in with that. Pummy goes down on the other side. Big ult coming out from Astronex, has both of the supports extremely low. Can't get the finish off, but created enough space for that cart to basically get to the next point. But back in is that very, very difficult player to kill in Strider, who will just circle around on the wrecking ball, and it's enough time created where the reinforcements can come in, and now they've got an advantage for the side of G-Force, and that cart stopped in a bad place this time for Final Mouse Friends. We saw G-Force work hard to get through it. Now it's Final Mouse Friends' turn to try and get this cart once it's that far pushed forward.
Yeah, but being able to bring the payload back maybe just a little bit is great for GeForce. I mean, they're holding it, they're contesting it, they're making sure that things aren't going to go awry. Of course, Strider is always going to be there, you know, being that contest.
Not only that is he being in a contest, he's also helping his team get kills. Vega already down, Zera the next to fall. The Mines maybe positioned in a little bit of a weird place, but they've won this fight so well defensively. We're entering into last fight territory. And again, cart moved a little bit, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't get to that point, and you have so far to go if you're Final Mouse friend.
It's going to get even further and further as it starts to go back. This is the last fight that we're going to see. If GeForce can win this one out once more, it's going to be over. But Pummy's going to be the main thing here. Pummy has their ultimate. Pummy can lay Bob down and make sure things don't go wrong.
Zera coming around on that backside, knows where the Zen is, somewhere off to his left. Also knows that there's players in between where he is as well. You can see just hiding on the high ground right now is Pummy, waiting for that right opportunity. Overtime is going to start here. Got the Wrecking Ball coming in, goes down first, but Bob is here to be act as that fifth player again. But they're able to just push Bob away. Zera and the ultimates of Final Mouse friends enough to get this win on this fight and get the cards down into that final part of the map. Not much time, but enough time that they can get the win.
So close. That was it. That was the important fight. They felt like GeForce maybe pushing up a little bit too far, leaving themselves out in the open, taking anything they can. And Graham, now having the ultimate, being that Lucio, could give tons and tons of shield over. There it is. It's going to come down. And now begins the fight.
Zera with 2 kills already. Vega on the Brigitte following up another one. This is looking real good for Final Mouse and friends to take that 2-1 lead. Just have to deal with ultimate weapon on the cart. And now the final little bit is being pushed as they hit that golden box of victory and take a 2-1 lead for Final Mouse friends. GeForce not able to hold on the defense, Gombers, but there's still one more map that they have to win if they want to win that $300 that first place gets.
Intense. Just extremely intense. I didn't know what I was going to actually expect, you know, coming into this. I didn't really have any thoughts as to who would have been able to take it. I thought, yeah, this is going to be hard, but I didn't think it was going to be this hard. In all honesty, I didn't think it was going to be this close. You know, but in terms of like synergy that we're seeing, how things are working out, I do like, you know, everything that GeForce is bringing. I am interested though with Final Mouse because they've been pulling out some pretty silly stuff, especially with a push coming up onto the high ground, trying to make their way with that.
The push is also the map that we saw GeForce struggle on in their last match. So this is the one thing for if you're GeForce that maybe you're a little bit worried about is that, you know, push was rough, but it is their choice of a push map. So maybe we don't go to Coliseum this time. Could be the answer. Well, I just heard from production we're going to Coliseum, so never mind that.
Well, maybe things will be different.
Yeah, maybe. You know, they were kind of messing around a little bit on that map as well, right? Like, they also didn't have Strider playing that time. They were having Anyhow play, so they were playing a little bit different style anyways. So, yeah. But this is match point. So you lose here, you're done. You don't get the $300 for first place, right? You know, $200 is nice, but 300, you know, an extra $100 to split between 5 people is a lot nicer than 200. So, if you're GeForce, this is when things need to start going back into your favor.
You want the extra $25 if you're splitting it. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly.
Most definitely pretty important. But like you said, coming into the Coliseum, I don't know. In terms of like history, it looked pretty rough for GeForce. I don't know if push is a map that they can most necessarily really pull through with. I think Final Mouse and friends maybe getting a little bit lucky with the pick here.
Well, it was GeForce's pick though, so they did pick this map. So they must have a better plan than what they did last time. I think is what I'm thinking at the very least. But you know, you were talking about $25. You know, that's the difference of like you Uber eating and like maybe you're getting some fast food with that Uber Eats between getting like, you know, maybe you're gonna get some Fridays or something instead. You know, somewhere where you're gonna spend a little bit more money on like an entree.
Yeah.
So like it makes a difference. It makes a difference, and we all know that's probably what they're gonna spend this money on anyways. They're gamers. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. They're not going anywhere else. They're not gonna be doing anything. So might as well try and win that little bit of extra money if you can, if you're GeForce. But for Final Mouse Friends, it's looking like that might be what they can do if they can take this push map. And I don't think we're going to see, like, Final Mouse Friends have not had to switch up from the composition they're running. So, like, I don't think we should expect them to play anything else but have, you know, that Tracer, the Genji, the Junker Queen, you know, the Anna and the Brig. They've been so good at it. Why would you switch now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Although I don't know, people like to do different things on push just because
Yeah.
it sometimes occasionally feels like, you know, a singular type of battle, like a 1v1. 1v1s tend to break out a lot here in a game like this. Like, and I feel like with push, so many twists and turns, so many types of corners that you have to really kind of work your way around. If you fall behind, you're gonna have to fight your way out of that situation. So I do feel like this is kind of like the typical race type of scenario where you will occasionally take those 1v1s. Maybe we'll see, you know, a team-based type of composition. But with the Zarya that we saw previously coming into the Mei pick on, you know, push, I do think people are gonna go willy-nilly. It's gonna be an interesting carnival for sure.
For sure. Now, you're speaking of carnivals, and not that Mei is a carnival character, but we did see Mei from GeForce last time. Do you think we see the Mei again? I'm betting no, but you never know, right?
I hope not. I thought the Mei is I think the Mei is great under the circumstance that like the soldier is coming out and they want to use their ultimate, and that wall is going to be the perfect circumstance for a block off, or even just get rid of the Junker Queen and have a shield. Like,
Right.
that would be great too. I feel like the Mei heavily relied on. Yeah, there is some freeze to be able to get that slow, but at the end, I'm not so sure if it's the best pick. I mean, of course, there's not a lot of evidence of Mei being the best pick on push, but maybe somebody could change my mind if they do pick it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll find out here very soon. I don't think we will. I think that GeForce is going to play more Wrecking Ball style comps. That seems to be what they do with Strider, right? Like, whenever he's been in, only when he's been in, which has been here in the finals, he's played Wrecking Ball, I think, every single map. So my guess is we'll see more of that. I wonder if we'll get Anyhow back in at some point as well. You know, maybe they decide to make a sub or not. Because Anyhow is who played in the semifinals game now. Maybe the comps that they like to play and that they want to play are more, you know, these Wrecking Ball focused ones, which is why in the grand finals you've made that switch. So maybe that's the case. We're going to find out as we're about to jump back in here in a second. But talking again about Final Mouse Friends, like, you're at match point. You know, we know GeForce had trouble on this game mode last time. Maybe this is your chance to get ahead and really show that who the best team is here in this Overwatch 2 Community Calls tournament.
Yeah, I do believe this is a best of
5.
Best of 5 as well. So one more for Final Mouse and Friends and it's over. And coming to the push, this is dangerous. Like, GeForce did not do too good. They were not looking too well. But here, sticking with the general composition that they like to stick with, Palmy gonna be on that watch.
So very similar compositions that we've seen these teams really adapt to as the games have gone on. We've seen a lot of this from GeForce, and see if they can make it work here. You can see there's some shots coming out from the other side as they kind of poke at each other from their respective high grounds on opposite sides of the map. But now we're about to get into where the fights are about to happen. Big dynamite coming out from Pummy, starts to rotate away, but the Zenyatta cannot rotate fast enough in Madero. But guess what Strider's doing? Just getting pushed by a robot.
That's pretty cute though. Like, it's always Strider, and the fact that they're playing the Wrecking Ball just makes it even better because it just looks like you're like the move-in cart, and like you're really just moving into an apartment. You got your buddy there helping you out, and you're the ball. Your luggage is the ball. But yeah, Strider getting taken out, but still able to gain some ground. Important stuff.
Yeah, it does make things a little bit slow for the side of Final Mouse Friends, and they don't get to position for this fight in the spot that they necessarily wanted to. And guess who's on the cart or on our robot friend again? That's right, it's Strider, and he wins the 1v1 versus the Tracer. Sure, they lose Pummy on the other side, but Strider again, they've got to try and go back for this cart, and now he's got a Brigitte over there as well to help him out. Now you can see Final Mouse Friends, they're making their way back, and while they are shooting them from behind has been ultimate weapon.
Oh no, Strider's like, when's my chance? Will I be able to get a workaround? Yeah, they're just gonna be completely eliminated there. It's a 1v5, and once again, I said, you know, you might be taking these 1v1 situations. Strider isn't even playing with the team at this point. They're trying to look for that opening to be able to redirect it back, or even just get the contest.
Well, this time they're going to get the cart started. They should be able to get pushed to the same amount of distance that we saw G-Force get to. And we'll see where they decide to go for the fight again. They're pushing forward once again. Pulse Bomb coming out. Strider getting taken down first this time. They made that focus, but Pummy will answer back. Zero with a kill on a dash through as well. So it's an even fight, and Pummy's still on the high ground, fighting through, getting damage in onto Zera, who has to use the deflect. And we're getting close to the 7-minute mark here, but it's looking pretty good for this side of Final Mouse Friends as they do have control. But here comes Strider once again.
Strider seeking these players out, coming back around, and this time actually it feels like Strider's being less effective than before. Strider's consistently getting so much damage taken on them that they have to kind of like digress and then come back around when things start to die down. But like, I feel like Strider's definitely struggling. Yeah, occasionally they're able to get some ground, but that's it. Like, they can't get any picks. They're struggling a lot to be able to contest because these players are just really pushing forward.
And that was a very early Transcendence that had to be used too. Now Strider coming down using the Wrecking Ball ult right where that push, right where the cart has gotten to. Not going to be able to get a kill though, and instead it's Final Mouse Friends cleaning up.
Clean up crew goes great. Final Mouse, I mean, they've taken the lead. Look at this. They're not really, they're not far off at this point to be able to win it out. Not only that, you got 6 minutes left. If G-Force can win out this fight, then it works out for them. They might just be able to, you know, possibly regain that ground, maybe, but it's going to take a long time, right? The contest is there. The push is coming through. Nobody's going to be able to focus that, which is going to be extremely unfortunate.
2 kills going out on either side. Bun does get the kill onto Ultimate Weapon. Strider trying to come back in. Has to go get that healing orb, though. Lost a lot of HP, and the cart can continue forward for Final Mouse Friends. And they have the forward spawn activated as well. So, doing pretty good, but now the cart's starting to go back the other way. You see the robot getting chased down, but, you know, Final Mouse Friends, they're ready for it this time, as they're going to be meeting it there. But this will be a full fight, 5v5 coming through, and players getting low, and the stick comes out from Ultimate Weapon onto Vega. And now this should be a fight that they can win pretty easily. And we're seeing the switch over to the Cassidy as well for the side of G-Force. So, ooh, Pummy coming back alive here, making this swap.
Yeah, it makes it easier, you know, being able to get a fast wrap around, especially the fact that there is no barrier there this time around. So G-Force, they're coming in quick, but things are going to get a lot slower here. as you know that push starts to come forward. So now they have to be very, very careful. They have to win out these fights because G-Force, any single wrong movement, that could lead to Final Mouse taking it even further, not allowing G-Force to take the lead.
I don't know if you just heard the TW1 robot, which is the name of the robot who pushes the barrier. He said, "Fix your issues." It's like, I would if I could. Why are you saying this to me? That's not what I expected from a robot, but I also didn't expect that this would be the way that this is going after there's been a little bit of struggles from the side of Final Mouse friends now with these swaps over. Like this Cassidy making a big difference, can use the ultimate, keep people from getting onto the barrier. Have to wait for it to be over. Finally waits it out, but that's a little bit more time for damage to build up, a Transcendence to come in that you can try and take advantage of. Now it's Sound Barrier on the other side, and Tummy will go down, so not quite able to get to where the push got for the side of Final Mouse friends, but they did make some headway. We're getting down as far as time, 3:30 left for this map.
Coming back around, I said, the next fight that comes up from G-Force is going to be the most important as well, and they've lost it. They don't have it anymore, so now they have to run all the way over there, try to kind of meet them halfway. And as it is, right, coming close, it is going to be Strider, of course, playing the Wrecking Ball. The Wrecking Ball is going to be a really, really big factor as to how things turn out.
Well, not turning out well when you have a Dragon Blade come through from Zera and he just cuts through 2 players. So already behind the 8 ball for the side of G-Force, and now we're entering into that really tough territory for them. Losing the 1v1 there was Ultimate Weapon, although I think I did see somebody come in and maybe add a little bit of damage in on the Bun side. So not quite a 1v1, but we're down to 230, so we're really coming down on the time bank.
Pushing even further at this point, right? 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Maybe G-Force can kind of recollect themselves, redeem themselves, but not to mention there's a lot of fights going on to the way to do so. So there's some stall out here. The fights are coming down. Strider's doing a great job at being able to create a lot of that hold, and now, I mean, taking it back over. But of course, a fight gonna be able to be met before things really kind of go over there for G-Force.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the crucial fights for them. They're going to have to win this next one if they really want to have a chance, because if you lose this next one and you have to push the cart all the way, basically in overtime, it'll be a nightmare. So you see everybody just go past. They just go right past Strider. Don't even care that he tried to roll into them. They avoided it. They take out the Zenyatta, and now they have the advantage in the fight. But Vega goes down as well. So traded support for support, but now DPS being lost. This is starting to look better and better for the side of Final Mouse friends with 1:30 left to go to get themselves a championship win.
Oh no. Velasco, you talked about it. You said that this was the time to take it back, to make sure you win the fight. G-Force were not able to do that, and now we're coming up. 1 minute, 12 seconds left. I think at this point, like, even if you reach that 30-second mark, it is over. It's not for you. It could be Final Mouse and friends taking, I mean, the game in general. Oh, I don't know.
Not impossible, but very, very difficult. We saw this happen for the side against G-Force in their semifinals, where somebody was in a similar situation, similar to what G-Force is in right now. They need some of that magic themselves if they want to keep this going, and if they want to try and extend this series. Final Mouse still having the Dragon Blade from Zera come through, slices through 2, and this is looking very dire as we're down to the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think even with an overtime, G-Force, they tend to lose these fights. Meeting, that midway and that midpoint. So regardless of what happens, I think Final Mouse and friends, they pretty much have this in the bag. They pushed G-Force back so far to the point where they're feeling so desperate. Everybody's just flowing out one by one after spawn. And they're going to take him down with it because of that punishment. It's going to be that punishment that comes down that just leads him into a bad place.
Zenyatta and Madero goes down. Vega being traded out, so we lost supports again on either side. Both supports down, though, before the side of Final Mouse Friends. But this isn't done for GeForce just yet. They still have their Lucio, but Zera is able to take out 2. Have to make sure you stay on the card. If you lose it here, overtime can go down, and this is all over. Their spawn is pretty close, but the Pulse Bomb from Bun should be the exclamation mark to finish it for Final Mouse Friends, as they will win this one 3-1 over GeForce and take themselves home a nice $300 for being first place.
For the DoorDash, you get it. You get it for the meals. You get it for the meals, and they're gonna have a pretty full stomachs tonight. In all honesty, they played their butts off. Final Mouse and Friends completely showing. You know, it doesn't matter. You could really throw anybody at a specific team, and you could come out with a surprise. Final Mouse and Friends, definitely something that we were expecting to see happen from Ceruleus, possibly, you know, coming really close into these games, pushing GeForce back. But, you know, I'm a little surprised to see that GeForce 3-1?
It was a close 3-1, though. I think that...
yeah.
You know, more surprising is that this is kind of a mix of 2 teams for contenders. So, you know, you never are sure how that'll come out for the side of Final Mouse Friends. For the side of GeForce, you know, a whole roster that plays a lot together, you maybe give them a little bit of an advantage. But that's why we play the games, to figure it all out. And Final Mouse Friends deserving of that $300, getting the win. Still $200 getting into the pocket of GeForce. So I think they're probably still feeling pretty good. This is... You know, this isn't contenders, right? They got their 1 win yesterday in contenders, and they're probably feeling pretty good about themselves anyways.
Yeah.
This is just a little bit of extra cash and a little bit of practice that they get to do, and maybe they were trying some things they maybe necessarily wouldn't once they knew they were in the money. So you never know. It worked out pretty well, I think, for both teams here. But obviously, big congrats to our Final Mouse Friends for being the team that ends up winning it all, though, and doing it in a pretty great fashion there at the end.
Yeah, great fashion. It's not easy. It really isn't. And in general, like, it is Overwatch 2. There's a lot of new game modes coming in, a lot of new players, and that could really throw off your game. But something as slight as that can lose you money. But Labosco, I mean, it's been a pleasure working with you. Serious. Of course, you know, it's definitely it's a journey casting Overwatch for sure. But you know, seeing these games, seeing, you know, all these players, and it was pretty fun.
It definitely was a lot of fun. We got to do the semifinals and finals games, obviously, here, and we thank you for watching as we've been going on. Quick shout outs to our production crew, though. First Night of Nye, Crash Tag, Ali, Aeon, everybody who's been making this happen at EGL. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Gompers, for being an awesome partner to go through these games. And of course, thank you at home for watching us as we got all the way through this Overwatch 2 Community Calls tournament. Maybe there will be more down the road here by EGL. All I know is I've had a lot of fun. Gompers, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts from me, Labosco. I'm pretty much good. I got no thoughts in my brain ever. So.
Well, glad to have you along the entire way. That's going to do it here from us. Overwatch Community Calls Tournament won by Final Mouse Friends, as they will take home our grand prize of $300, and we'll see you next time.